Peace to all the gods and goddesses. Back again with the vibes of the divine. I am the god Shango, and today, get ready to take another deep dive into this electrifying world of the Young Thug Rico trial. Let's get into it, family.
And believe that we're headed in the right direction. I've said all along that we will have to comply with whatever the Justice Department recommends, and that's what we're in the process of doing now. So thank you all for being with us.
Positive and optimistic, but to be honest, the tone this morning was really damning from the Department of Justice. How serious is this, and were you guys already making plans and making changes before now, or because earlier this morning it seems like no changes have been made?
Well, I view that a little differently. If you look at what was said this morning, the tone and tenor was, none of this is new.
If you look what was said this morning, what's good, family?
This is decade-old problems, some that predate certainly the chairman and I relationship, but ultimately it also said, and it was also pointed out very, very poignantly, these are fixable opportunities. And so that's what our plan is as we get ready to move forward, is to be able to fix each one of these opportunities and move forward.
Sheriff, the DOJ said that some of the violence stems from the fact that, or stems from a lack of an adequate classification system that results in really violent inmates being housed with more vulnerable inmates. Do you have any response to that, and is that something you're trying to address?
So we are addressing that. I have said quite loudly that we will not be able to just simply throw staffing at this. We're going to have to embrace technology, and we're working with our IT department to do just that. There are classification systems that are a little more robust, and we are presenting those as we get ready to move toward the new budget cycle as well.
I just interviewed Andrea Young with the ACLU, and she's...
What up, family? Appreciate y'all being here. Quick roll call. Hey, Cha Diggy in the house. What up, family? I see you. Laugh, always have fun. What up? Dream, I see you, family. Tap Flocker, appreciate you joining. What up? Tap Flocker Dream, I said that. Steph JK, what up? I see you. Three Faces in the Hood. What up, family? Appreciate you joining. We about to get into it. And of course, Loa, what up though, Loa? Got your account back. Congratulations. See y'all up in there. Let's get it. Chan My Black is golden. What up, Queens? Let's get it.
Believes that a big thing that could help with this, I know y'all have talked about, there's just not enough space for all of the inmates, and a big issue she saw was the fact that a lot of people in there can't afford to bond out, and a lot of people in there might not necessarily be in there because of a concern of violence or a concern of being a danger to society. Do y'all feel that maybe there is a systematic change that needs to be in place for the people who do end up in the jail to begin with? So the filtering system of who is jailed in the Fulton County Jail versus, just everyone in jail, and changing how the jail functions.
Well, we don't have the luxury of predicting who is brought to the facility. You look at...
As a crime scene technician with the city of Atlanta, certainly now as a supervisor, you are trained in evidence collection, correct?
Yes.
And forensics, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you are trained in gunshot residue, what it is, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you know it to be microscopic particles that are expelled from a handgun when the gun is fired, correct?
That's correct, yes.
And it spreads in the immediate area of wherever that gun is fired.
Yes.
Okay. And you were trained in the collection of potential objects for testing for gunshot residue, correct?
Yes.
Okay. In this case, you collected the headliner from this white Audi.
Yes.
Okay. Now I'm showing you 183 VV. This is already in evidence. Is this a fair representation of what the white Audi looked like after you collected the headliner?
Yes, yes.
Trying to act like she don't know. She didn't want to say she took it out. She said once I got it or received it. Like you the one took that out. What up, Rainy Rain? I see you, family. Appreciate you joining.
Okay. And the part that you collected, is it the square on top where the sunroof is, or
Y'all help us get in that algorithm. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe. Hit that share. Help it turn up a little bit.
is it also the surrounding area that forms the border on the top of the car?
Yeah, it's been so long. Yeah, so I'm assuming that, well, I did that where I put number 1. I collected that. And if the other parts came off, I collected that as well.
Okay, so you collected it all.
Yes.
Okay. Would you like to look at the headliner to just
Okay.
confirm?
Yes. Yeah. So yes, it's. Yes, all the headliner, yes.
And so you would agree that it includes the part that was under the sunroof as well as the surrounding areas?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Now, the decision to collect the headliner of all places in the car, you're saying that decision was made by Investigator Hogan,
That is correct.
correct? Is this the first time you've collected a headliner of?
Actually, yes, that was my very first time collecting a headline.
Okay. Now, when Detective Hogan requested that you collect the headliner, did you object at all to collecting the headliner?
No.
Okay, as someone trained in gunshot residue and collection and all that you know about gunshot residue, the headliner seemed like a reasonable part of the car to collect.
Well, that's what he requested to collect. He's the lead, so I'm under his direction.
And that seemed reasonable to you, though, correct?
Yes.
Okay. You didn't think it was crazy for Detective Hogan to ask you to collect the headliner?
No.
Okay. And the headliner would be, the reason you didn't think it was crazy, because the headliner would be in the area where gunshot residue would be dispersed if a gun was shot inside that Audi, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and the headliner and that cloth is different than hands, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, the cloth material, based on your training experience, would be more likely to collect and maintain gunshot residue particles than someone's hands, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. So that seemed like a good idea to you to collect the headliner,
Yes.
if we wanted to get to the truth.
Yes.
Okay. And after you collected this headliner, you packaged it carefully, correct?
Yes.
In accordance with all the training and experience and guidelines that you follow in the collection of evidence,
Yes.
and you submitted it to GBI, correct?
That is correct.
And GBI being the Georgia Bureau of Investigations.
Yes.
Okay. And it would be someone from the Georgia Bureau of Investigations that I would have to talk to about whether, what the results of that gunshot residue testing is, correct?
That is correct. You would have to talk to them.
All right. Oh, one more thing. In your, Mr. Atkins, could you kindly publish 374 VV? Or, sorry, Mr. Abate, Ms. Hilton, thank you. $374. did you notice any damage to the tint of the front driver's side window?
No.
Did you notice any bubbling or scratches on the tint of the driver's side window?
No, I did not.
Okay. Thank you. I have no further questions.
Thank you so much.
I walk away for 5 seconds and y'all got Jack dancing on the screen. Hey, what up, Rainy Rain? Welcome to the Copper fam. Appreciate you, family. What up, No One? I see you. Chloe Albert's Revenge. Hey, what up, what up, what up, what up? KT Ali Pit Love. What up, what up? I see y'all. KP, what up, family? I see you.
No further questions. All right.
Mr. Coven, good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Max Shard. I represent Shannon Stillwell. I appreciate you being here today. I'm going to ask you, let's play the hypotheticals first, and then I'm going to get into the work you actually did in this case, okay?
Okay.
All right. So you were just asked about some hypotheticals. Let's just be clear. In your expert opinion, if a gun was shot inside the cabin of a car and the sunroof was opened subsequently to the gunfire and the windows were opened and someone was driving around, in your expert opinion, the gunshot residue inside that car would remain, correct?
And this is after the gun was already discharged and the GSR was deposited?
Yes.
Yes, I would expect for there to be surfaces inside of that vehicle where the GSR particles remained, yes.
Okay, you were asked about a hypothetical where someone sticks their hand out the window. The driver sticks their hand out the window and shoots. Okay, first of all, there's a possibility that there would still be gunshot residue inside the cabin in that circumstance, correct?
That is correct.
Because it's a large plume of microscopic particles. How many particles are there typically, gunshot residue particles, discharged from a gun when it is fired?
We don't have a very accurate
What's going on? Hey, Cat Knot Williams in the house. The burrito in the thumbnail.
Hi guys, how is everybody?
Appreciate you joining, fam. Y'all go sub up to Cat Knot Williams. Appreciate the love, family.
count on that for sure, because that's very difficult to count. But I would expect on the order of hundreds, at the very least, to be created when a firearm is discharged. Now, where those particles are deposited, that's a different story.
Could it be thousands?
It could be thousands. I can't say for sure. It's all dependent on how many shots we're talking about and how large the caliber of the firearm was.
And let me ask you this. So 3 to 4 shots fired. Outside the car, inside the car, either way. That would increase the amount of particles that are expelled from the firearm 3 to 4 times, correct?
Yes, it would, yes.
That would make it more likely, even if a gun is shot outside a window, that there would be gunshot residue within the cabin that could be detected by you later on, correct?
Yes, that is reasonable to expect that there will be more available to deposit on some surface somewhere, yes.
Okay, and while we're playing the hypothetical game, if someone stuck their arm out the window, the driver's side window of a car, and fired a gun, and it was on video, you would expect to see muzzle flashes, wouldn't you?
On video?
Yes.
That's reasonable to expect. That's, yes, with a gunfire, with a discharging firearm, yes.
You familiar with tint application?
A little bit,
You're not
yes.
supposed to down the window within 24 to 48 hours after the tint is applied, correct?
That is what I've been told before, yes.
Leads to bubbling, leads to damage to the tint.
That's correct.
Okay? If a car is collected that had recently had tint applied and there was no within hours of this alleged.
Yeah, you know, we got Detective Big Burrito coming in later. Hey, she's the emoji queen, right? So it was only right to give her emoji and put the emoji burrito up. Everybody else claimed their emoji. She got to have hers too, right? Appreciate y'all being here, family. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, tap in, share with a friend.
Shooting. And then there was no damage to that tint when it was later, when the car was later processed. Would that be evidence that the window was never opened to shoot out at someone?
That is outside of my expertise. I'm not a window tint expert. I know I've been told that as well before with my own vehicle, but I cannot say for sure that that is the case here.
Shout out to Steph JK dropping Cat's link. There you go, family. Y'all go sub up to Cat.
Well, while we were doing hypotheticals, I just wanted to ask that.
Great content, as I'm sure most of y'all already know. But for the 1% who don't know her, go ahead and go over there and sub up. Show her some love.
Okay. But ultimately, getting back to the work you actually did, not hypotheticals. You've done with GBI. How long have you been working with GBI?
Over 9.5 years now.
Okay, excellent. You've done thousands of tests for gunshot residue, correct?
Just over 1,000, yes.
Just over 1,000. You've tested headliners before, correct?
Yes, I have.
This isn't the first time.
No, it's not.
Okay, headliners are a relatively common part of a car to be collected to test for gunshot residue, correct?
To either be collected or someone has sampled a headliner and submitted it to us, yes.
And the reason is because the headliner, where it's situated in the car, would be a place where the gunshot residue, if the gun is fired in the car or even potentially outside the car, would be a place where gunshot residue would be deposited, correct?
That is correct. A good area for them to be
retained. Also, the headliners, they're a cloth fabric, correct?
That's correct.
Textiles.
Typically.
Textiles,
yes.
Correct?
Correct.
Different than a hand where you sweat and different things of that nature. These textiles tend to maintain and absorb the, absorb's a bad word, maintain the gunshot residue.
My bad, family. That was me. I was trying to upload a burrito on the screen, that burrito, but too late. I ain't going to mess with it.
Particles better than skin, for instance.
That's correct. Any item that's of cloth material or textile has the ability to hold on to or retain GSR particles better than a harder surface or better than a person's hands, simply due to the fact that we use our hands a lot. The more you're touching surfaces, you're going to lose those particles, or just washing your hands will cause you to lose all of those particles.
Okay. And in your work on this case, you took the headliner and you dabbed it with those sticky tabs, correct?
That's correct.
You did everything by the procedures as you were taught, correct?
That is correct.
You did everything by the procedures as is standing operating procedure with GBI, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And in fact, you used that one tab, and then in fact, you broke out a second tab and continued to dab the headliner, correct?
That is correct.
How many dabs do you do with each tab?
Again, per our policy and our standards, we are to, and it's at the discretion of the examiner, but we will continue to dab until the tackiness or the stickiness of that adhesive surface is lost. And at that point, then you can move on to a...
What up, though? Kristen Vasquez in the house. Berta S, I see you. Shauna P, Law Nerd. What up? Wilma, I see you. Appreciate y'all joining, family. Y'all hear me? You just dab and dab and dab and dab, and you didn't find nothing? Nothing?
Second stub or third or however many there were, or be finished with your sampling process. So in this particular case, I can't really tell you for sure how many dabs that was. Maybe a couple dozen or more than that, but I can't tell you for sure. We don't notate how many dabs there were.
All right. And you said that just dabbing, you probably didn't cover the entire surface of the headliner, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, but the reality is you don't need to effectively test for gunshot residue, correct?
That is correct. Again, unfortunately, just due to the nature of the sampling process, we can't get to every square millimeter of that entire surface. So it's possible that some things could have been missed, but this is a sampling process that is recognized throughout the forensic community and is standard for us when it comes to sampling any items for GSR.
Well, and reality is, when we're talking about GSR, a gun doesn't disperse GSR to one little spot, all the GSR to one little spot on a headliner. It sends a plume, correct?
That's correct. A plume or a cloud, yes.
And so when you're saying we didn't cover every little spot, in your training experience using, in fact, not only one tab, but two tabs and dozens of dabs, in your 9.5 years experience, you dabbed enough to get an accurate representation of whether that headliner was exposed to a
Miss D55, what up, family? I see you. Appreciate you joining.
plume of gunshot residue, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
You felt great about the work you did. You followed all the procedures.
Yes, I did feel good about the sampling process that I did.
Texas T, you hear this? He did a good job, right? But they didn't find nothing, right? Did he vacuum it? Did he wipe it down? Wipe it down, because it's cold.
Okay. Let me ask you, you've said you've been called to testify 82 times.
When it comes to GSR, yes.
Is it fair to say that the majority of those times you came to testify in court, the GSR was positive?
You said the majority of the time? Potentially. Potentially.
Okay. Has the state called you personally as an expert in gunshot residue at times when the result was positive?
Yes, they have.
Okay. And you, when the result was positive, you came and
Plans and pins, I see you. What up? Appreciate you joining.
shared with the jury about what the results were.
That is correct.
And it was the Fulton County District Attorney's Office, just be clear, Fulton County District Attorney's Office has called you to testify about positive results before, correct?
Objection on relevance? Overruled. You can answer.
I cannot say for sure, remembering my results from testifying in Fulton County, but it is reasonable to expect that there were some that were positive, and I was asked to testify to my results for them here, yes.
Okay. So when the results were positive, the work was done well according to the process.
I can't really speak to.
Sustained.
Okay. All right. Now, I want to ask you, going back to another hypothetical that I left out. The hypothetical of washing. Hypothetically, you can wash your hands, correct?
That is correct.
And that can remove gunshot residue.
Correct.
And you've talked about clothing and textiles and the potential to wash textiles or clothing, correct?
That's correct.
And you also said that there's studies that show even textiles or clothing, even if they go through the wash, still have gunshot residue, correct?
That is correct.
All right, but here's the thing. I want to talk about this case. Do you have any evidence? Is there any evidence that you noted in your report, any evidence that this headliner had been washed?
There's no evidence that was noted or given to me that would indicate that it had been washed, but...
Laugh. You don't know about Detective Big Burrito? Detective Big Burrito? She coming up later in the show.
I would never really know for sure. Based off of what I am given to examine for the GSR analysis.
Well, I want to talk about the premise of the hypothetical. You do not have any evidence that this headliner was washed.
No, I do not.
Okay. All right, and ultimately, the results, well, we talked about hundreds or thousands, or you said maybe thousands, of particles. What is the threshold? I know that you said it's negative. The headliner was on each and every one of those tabs. When you looked under the scanning electron microscope with the beams, the electron beams, the result was negative. But what I want to know, what is the threshold for a positive?
We don't really use the word positive. It's just, is the GSR there or not? And all you need is just one particle to say that, yes, there are particles characteristic of GSR present on this surface.
So all you need is one particle under that scanning electron microscope with the electron beams to be a positive result.
That is correct.
And in this case, the result of that headliner was negative, meaning you did not even see one particle of gunshot residue on that headliner.
That is correct.
Thank you. I have no further questions. Do you have any? So now we're dealing with a hypothetical about vacuuming. Do you have any evidence that this headliner was vacuumed?
No, I do not.
Okay. And when I understand that you collected the samples on June 1st, 2022?
That's correct.
When you
Shout out to Just Ani. Y'all show her some love and drop a slime, brother. Welcome to the Copper Found. Appreciate you, family.
when did you receive the headliner from APD?
APD submitted the headliner on March 23rd, 2022.
Okay, between March 23rd, may I approach? Mm-hmm. And this is the headliner?
Yes.
Okay, between March 23rd and June 1st, did the headliner, was it continuously, uninterruptedly kept in this evidence bag?
Based on...
Always lying love. What up, what up? I see you, family. Blue Dream in the house. What up? I see you, family. Appreciate y'all joining.
The notes that I have and the records that I have, yes, it was.
And this evidence bag was sealed?
Yes, it was.
So no one from GBI took this headliner between March 23rd and June 1st and slipped it in the laundry?
No, they did not.
No one took the headliner and went out on Panthersville Road and ran in the yard with the headliner, just waving it around?
That's correct. No, they did not.
Okay, it was maintained in this sealed evidence bag?
Yes, it was.
Just like all other evidence that is brought in to GBI for testing, correct?
That is correct.
All right, thank you.
That's a fact, Cat. That was a good witness. He was honest, at least for once. What up, Kim Burt Lee? I see you, family. Appreciate you joining. What up, Tammy Lewis? I see you.
No further questions.
All right, thank you for your time. You are excused.
Number 13, does that say YSL members sold drugs from their home at 2539 Brownsville Road, Atlanta, Georgia?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you initial that right there?
I did.
And did you initial that as a factual acknowledgement in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so I'm going to ask you again. Did YSL members sell drugs from their home?
Yes, Your Honor. As the answer.
Shout out to Kristen Vasquez, 1 month member. Appreciate you, family. I think your first month might have been gifted, huh? But appreciate you officially tapping in. Much love, much love. Y'all show her some love and drop some slime umbrellas for Kristen Vasquez or some Puerto Rican flags.
Answer. You can answer.
NJB Nene in the house. What up, family? I see you. Hey, I was working on the horse love, but I didn't finish it yet. And I got the paper mache what's her name? Stacy Sibbett, but I don't want to freeze the stream trying to load her up.
like, even though it wasn't just YSL member allowed there, like, it just, like, what, you saying, have I ever seen somebody sell drugs out of the web?
I just asked, do YSL members sell drugs from the web?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm going to publish what we just submitted.
Read it. Oh, the pictures?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right.
426 VV. Right. Is that the living room at the web?
Yes.
All right. And is that a security system inside that living room?
Yes.
And I'm going to show you 427 VV. Is that the same, just a different angle of the web? Or the living room at the web?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, are you familiar with a home at 2830 Waters Road?
Yes, I've been there before.
And whose home is that?
I mean, I don't know whose spot it was. I know I used to go there and play the game and gamble and stuff.
Do you know someone by the name of Nicholas Carter, also known as Big Nick?
Can you repeat that?
Sure. Do you know someone by the name of Nicholas Carter, also known as Big Nick?
I know somebody by Big Nick. I don't know Nicholas. I don't know Nick Carter.
And how do you know Big Nick?
Just from around the area.
Do you know him to stay at 2830 Waters Road?
Stay there?
Yes.
I know. I mean, I ain't frequent Water Road like that, so like I don't see him there, but I don't know if he stayed there.
That boy sounded like he was about to cry. He sounded kind of scared right there. Hey, shout out to Lady L. Appreciate you joining. Appreciate you. I think I said what's up to Tammy Lewis, but what's up if I didn't? JC, appreciate you joining. Cha Diggy, your request has been granted. So Ice Cream, you have been upgraded in your moderator level.
You said that you would go there and play the game. What game are you talking about?
I'm gonna go play the PlayStation 5.
You said PlayStation 5?
Yes, yeah.
Do other YSL members congregate at 2830 Waters Road?
Like they just like yeah, I used to see some people like visit, some people come there, but there wasn't no YSL, like there wasn't no YSL like spot, like it wasn't no YSL spot.
Did members of YSL congregate at 2830 Waters Road?
Yes, we used to meet up before shows and before we go out and perform. Yes, yes, we don't.
Is 2830 Waters Road another location where drugs are sold out of?
Drawer probably was sold out of the drawer probably.
Drugs probably or drugs were?
Like, I mean, they probably were. Like, I'm not watching nobody. Like,
Ain't got no horn, but burn, 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 burn. Shout out to Cat Knot Williams. Y'all go crazy with the slime brellas, slime emojis and all the slimes and the KNWs. Show her some love for the 5 gifted. If y'all got 5 gifted, show her some love and say thank you. Appreciate you, Cat.
Hi, guys. How is everybody?
Did YSL members sell drugs out of 2830 Waters Road?
I sold drugs out there.
Thank you for that. Did YSL members sell drugs out of 2830 Waters Road?
Yes.
Did YSL member keep guns at 2830 Waters Road?
I don't know nothing about no guns. I don't know nothing about no guns.
You said, I don't know nothing about no guns. I don't know what you talking. I don't know nothing about no guns.
Good afternoon, Mr. Sumlin. My name is Doug Weinstein. I represent Diamante Kendrick. I believe you said earlier you know him as Yak Gotti, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm just going to refer to him as Yak Gotti when I talk about him.
Yes.
Okay. There was some discussion earlier about a phone call between you and Polo, Mr. Dorsey. You remember that conversation?
Yes, sir.
And you were saying that you just kind of say, when someone asks you to do something about this particular issue, you just say yes, yes, yes.
Yes, sir.
Why do you just say yes, yes, yes?
I mean,
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
I was just having idle conversation. Like, I never took the next step there.
So sometimes when you're having a phone call
Yes.
between someone in jail, someone not in the jail,
Yes.
you'll just say whatever, yes, 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 just to get off the phone. Is that right?
Yes.
Just to have idle conversation and move on.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about this plea that you took for a minute. That plea that you took, it required you to stay away from the other defendants in this case. Do you recall that?
Yes.
So you can't have contact with any other defendants that were in the same indictment as you, correct?
Correct.
Now, you're accused in this indictment of trying to harm Rayshawn Bennett, YFN Lucci, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you're also accused of this indictment of trying to harm Harold Clements, correct?
Yes, sir.
Are you required to stay away from them in this plea deal that you took?
I mean...
Or let me take that back. Would you be surprised, if I can have you look at it if you'd like, would you be surprised that you're not required to stay away from them?
I wouldn't be surprised. Like, I wouldn't be surprised.
Given that you took a plea deal and that you're accused of trying to harm those two individuals, were you surprised?
Shout out to NJB for joining the family. Welcome to the Copper fam. I think I missed the link, but I still want to shoot you a shout out. Appreciate you, family. Thanks for joining. The gatekeeper has officially let you in. Glanville approved.
That they didn't require you to stay away from them.
Sustained.
All right. I've got no further questions for you.
All right. Mr. Shar, any questions? Yes. Go ahead.
Mr. Sumlin, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
We've never spoken before, have we?
Never.
Doug killed that.
Never.
Never.
Okay. Well, my name is Max Shard. I represent Shannon Stillwell. Okay. And the first thing that interested me, you said that you have known Shannon for 20 to 25 years.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I know you said you were born on Cleveland Avenue.
What up, Jay Drop 'em? What up, Mookie Mookie? I see you, family. Appreciate y'all joining. We just getting into it.
Is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Okay. At some point, did you move in your childhood?
No, I never had no brothers, so I went to school in the Thomasville and Four Seasons area with my cousin.
Okay. So you went to school in Thomasville, and Four Seasons.
Yes, I went to Thomasville Elementary and I went to Price Elementary. I mean, Price Middle.
Okay. In Thomasville, that's it. Those are in the Thomasville Heights community, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And that's where you met Shannon.
Yes, sir.
Through going to school, and we're talking about elementary school. Right?
Yes, sir.
You met him in elementary school in the Thomasville Heights neighborhood, which is separate from Cleveland Avenue.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and you've known Shannon for some time.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you know Shannon's grandmother, Miss Betty?
No, I can't say I know his
Okay.
grandmother.
Did you know him to be raised by his grandmother? Do you know that?
I didn't have personal. I never, we just see each other outside like little kids. Like I never asked him about.
Okay, fair enough. So you never been to his house, and he's
No,
never
I
been
know.
to your house or anything like that. You just knew him.
Yeah, I just know him.
Okay.
Like what you mean? Like if somebody trying to be better than them?
Yeah.
That's I can say it's a competition.
In these songs, is there a competition about who's the baddest, the
Yes.
toughest, the most violent?
Yes.
Who does the most on the street?
Yes.
Who has the biggest guns?
Yes.
Who's got the most bodies? You've heard that in songs, right?
Yes.
Okay, not just in Atlanta.
Worldwide.
not just- worldwide. Even in London, right?
Okay. I can't.
Okay.
say that.
You're not familiar with drill music in London. Okay. All right. So these are common themes, and that's part of the competition, is what you're saying.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you've witnessed that firsthand
Yes.
with people you grew up with.
Yes, sir.
Okay. From observing the people that you grew up with make these boasts in their songs, are those boasts, the things that people claim they did, are those always true to your knowledge?
Sustained.
If people killed as much as they claim they do in songs, would the streets of Atlanta, the streets of this world, just be depleting of population at this point? Would there be dead bodies everywhere if everyone was really doing what they were saying?
Sustained.
I'll move on. Let's talk about
Lady Justice is blind. Everybody can get it.
You're out. Right?
Yes.
Okay. And you're happy to be out.
Yes.
Okay. 40. Originally, you were charged with 2 conspiracies. One to murder Harold Clements with Cordarius Dorsey. One to murder, to murder Rashawn Bennett, and you're allegedly conspired with Christian Eppinger.
Lady Justice is blind. Everybody can get it.
Conspiracy with Christian Eppinger, and you were charged with conspiracy. I already said it, to commit murder with Mr. Dorsey, and in a RICO case.
Yes.
RICO count. And I was very inartful there, but it's 4 counts: RICO, 2 conspiracies, and a gang count. Correct?
Yes.
All right. Do you remember what day you were arrested on this case, on this indictment?
May 11.
On May 11th of
22.
May 11th, 2022. And that's when they came to the house and took those pictures?
Yes.
Okay. Bruh. At some point, you were able to, you were represented by an attorney.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you and your attorney moved for bond.
Yes.
All right? And bond is when, after you're arrested, you're able to pay money and be released while the case is pending, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And when you moved for bond, the bond hearing was heard by Judge Glanville, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And at that bond hearing, the prosecutors were at their table, correct?
Yes.
And at that bond hearing,
Well, I'm going to object to this line of questioning being relevant to the
It's inclined to say that if you want to approach and discuss
I can
this, we can
approach.
do that. Why don't we take our afternoon break anyway? And Mr. Sumlin, you are free to step out if you want to.
All right, Jerry.
I believe this is relevant because when this gentleman,
Kind of let me know where you're intending to go with it.
I'm going into his plea when he pled to an agreed probationary sentence only after he signed the state's factual acknowledgments.
Something to do with bond.
Well, because the state is fighting against bond. He's not given bond. He's stuck in jail. Those are all factors, being stuck in jail, not
Okay.
given bond, are all factors.
If you want to just ask, was bond denied? And
Well,
I would say, yep, I was stuck in jail, that's fine.
I appreciate that, and I will ask that if the court limits me. What I'd like to ask is about the state objecting to bond, because I think that is relevant, because on one hand, they're saying this guy is a danger, do not let him out, and then as soon as he signs the form that they wrote, then release him on probation. And I think that's relevant. And right now, I think it's relevant for the jurors to know that they have this document in front of him, and it might explain his demeanor. It might explain.
Okay, so, I mean, are you going to ask, did the state oppose bond? Yes, they did, and you ultimately, bond got denied. You had to stay in jail. Is that the gist of it? I mean, we're not going to go into a whole lot of, they said this.
No,
they
no.
said, okay.
Yerp. Hey, April O'Neil's baby daddy. What up, family? Appreciate you joining. Did you bring the turtles with you? The other three?
All right, that's fine. Need any clarification or want to voice any other objections?
Your Honor, the state still believes that it's hearsay what happened at this bond hearing and effectively opposed bond, but we understand the court's instructions.
Okay, all right. We'll take our break as well.
Thank you.
You wet?
Move for time.
What?
I'm over time.
What up, family? Appreciate y'all being here. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, tap in, share with a friend. We getting into it tonight. You know how we do it. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. Slide on the friend page and share it with them one time. Share it with your mama and your daddy and your granny.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Sharp.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Sumlin, a couple more questions. On direct, you talked. I think we played one of the phone calls, and you talked about those phone calls you had with Mr. Dorsey and Mr. Eppinger. Okay. Okay. Let's talk about the phone call with Mr. Dorsey first. How long have you known Mr. Dorsey? Since 2017?
It's February 15th.
Of 2017?
Yes.
Sir? Of 2017?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. And you and Mr. Dorsey were in custody on that day when you met him, correct?
Yes, it was in prison.
So, that call, Mr. Dorsey called you. You did not call Mr. Dorsey.
I'm the gatekeeper.
Mr. Dorsey was in jail and you were...
Oh, they said, April O'Neil's baby daddy said the other three turtles locked up in Rice Street with Splinter. So what that mean? You took the plea? Oh, yeah. I didn't even read that part yet. Right? It's like, you took the plea. Oh, snaps. We got another Woody in the building. April O'Neil's baby daddy. He like, you must be Michelangelo then.
Not in jail.
Right.
Okay. And he called you about bringing some harm to a person named Mr. Harold Clements. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Okay. Did you have any problem with Harold Clemens?
I didn't even know Harold Clemens.
Could you speak up just?
I didn't even know Harold Clemens.
Okay. And did you said that Mr. Dorsey gave you some instructions?
Right.
And is it fair to say, is this fair recapping your testimony, that you hung up the phone and moved on with your life?
Right.
Okay, you did not act on what Mr. Dorsey was asking you to do.
Right.
Okay. And then you had another call from Mr. Eppinger.
Right.
Mr. Eppinger was calling about, the state was saying permission. Wasn't Mr. Eppinger really looking for payment? Isn't that what it was? It wasn't permission, it was payment.
I'm the gatekeeper.
Okay. And Mr. Eppinger, and I know you said alleged, we'll say alleged, but he was accused of doing something really crazy and idiotic. He was accused of shooting an officer who was trying to arrest.
Mookie said, nah, he's Shredder. Which one is you? Is you one of the turtles? Is you Shredder? Which one is you? April O'Neil's baby daddy? Or are you the one that played hockey? I forgot his name.
Tim. Right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know of, and this officer, to your knowledge, if you know, this officer was trying to arrest him on a separate warrant, and that's when Mr. Eppinger shot the officer.
I think that was the situation.
Okay. And then Mr. Eppinger, after shooting the officer, ran away from the officer. So to at least prolong before he got arrested.
Yes.
Okay. Do you know of anyone in this case, Mr. Stillwell, Mr. Kendrick, anyone on the indictment other than Mr. Eppinger? Did you ever hear of anyone encouraging Mr. Eppinger to shoot that officer?
No, sir.
Okay. So Mr. Eppinger calls you, and he's in jail now for shooting the officer and for the case that the officer was trying to arrest him for, correct?
Yes.
And then he starts asking you how much money he could get because he needed to hire a lawyer.
Yes.
Is that what he said to you?
Yes, I think he said. Yes, I think he said it.
Anthony Mullins, what's that?
In the car.
Okay, and from the call, he told you that he was locked up with Lucci, right?
Yes.
And at first, when he gave you that information, you didn't even put two and two together why he was even telling you that.
No. No.
Okay. In fact, you said, find out what I can get, and then you said, for what? Was that on the call?
Yes.
And then you asked him, what do you need me to do?
Right.
The truth is, you looked at Mr. Eppinger as like a child that got himself into a very bad situation.
Correct.
His own doing.
His own doing.
And you hung up that phone and you didn't act on it anymore.
No.
Okay. So,
Steph JK, we had more Kokomo on the last stream, but you had to go early, so I fast forwarded past it.
on December 22nd of 2022, you pled guilty.
Yes.
Okay. And before pleading guilty, you were still in jail. You pled guilty from jail, essentially.
Yes.
Okay. The plea took place in the courthouse, but you were brought over from the jail. You were not free on December 22nd of 2022, correct?
No, sir.
All right. And part of pleading guilty to what you pled guilty to was a condition was you had to sign this form, correct?
Yes.
All right. And you did not write this form.
No, sir.
You were given an opportunity. Were you given an opportunity to review this form with your lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, but you did not write this one.
No, sir.
And the letterhead on it is the Fulton County District Attorney's Office, correct?
Yes, sir.
After agreeing to what was written on this form and entering your guilty plea on December 22nd, 2022, you were allowed to go home, correct?
I went to Clayton County.
Oh, you had a hold in Clayton County. You were released on this case, and
Right.
then you were transferred to Clayton County.
Yes.
And then since you've resolved your situation in Clayton County.
Yes.
All right, great. Thank you so much.
Ms. Weinstein, anything? Redirect? Okay.
Think said on direct examination that there were people claiming to have killed your friends, Mr. McMillan and Mr. Ford. Do you remember saying that?
Yeah, I said they were trolling on Instagram.
Trolling. Do you know if Lucci was affiliated with the people who were trolling on Instagram?
My personal knowledge, no, like my personal knowledge, like they, like when you ask that, what you mean? Like what you?
The individuals who were trolling, were they associated with YFN?
Yes.
And is Lucci associated with YFN?
Yes.
Have you ever heard the term dry snitching?
Dry snitch. Yeah, I heard it.
How have you heard that term?
That's what we be doing all the time. We all be dry snitching on each other, especially on Instagram and Facebook, because obviously these emojis and posts then built a whole RICO case. That's dry snitching.
I mean, I heard the term before. I can't explain how I heard it. I can't.
What is your understanding of what the term means?
I can't say what dry. I heard the term before, but I can't just say what it means.
Okay. Back in 2022, after you were arrested on this case, did you learn that your phone number, there was a search warrant for your phone number and there was a wire on your phone, a wiretap on your phone number?
Yes, man, I learned that yes.
And at the time, did your phone number end in 8711?
Probably did.
Okay. Court's indulgence. Nothing further,
Ron. Sir, you were just asked about people trolling on Instagram after the Christian McMillan, Darius Ford double homicide.
Right.
Okay. And that was in March of 2022, correct?
Yes, I was locked up.
All right. The truth is, there were a whole lot of people trolling about that death, correct?
Right.
There was a whole lot of people claiming responsibility for Mr. McMillan and Mr. Ford's bodies, correct?
Yes, sir, it was.
People from YFN were on Instagram claiming their bodies, claiming responsibility, correct?
Yes.
People from PFK were on Instagram claiming responsibility for those same killings, correct?
Yes.
Members of the Henchmen.
Yes.
Henchmen is another rap collective
Yes,
on
sir.
the east side of Atlanta, correct?
Yes, sir.
People that were members of the Henchmen were also claiming responsibility.
Didn't Big Burrito say only YSL and YFN was beefing? She didn't say nothing about no henchmen.
For Mr. McMillan and Mr. Ford's deaths, correct?
Yeah, it was a lot of people trolling about their death.
Okay, so there was at least 3 different groups and multiple people within these groups who were all claiming responsibility for the same deaths, correct?
Yes.
And they were doing it publicly, right?
Yes.
So the world could see.
Yes.
And all three of these groups are involved with rap music, correct?
Yes.
With drill music,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. No further questions.
All right. Mr. Sumlin, you are excused. Call your next witness.
Your Honor, the state calls Gerald Walsh to the stand.
Sheets that I could, when I looked from, I don't know, a 10 SC case that was, when I looked back at this evidence, I could not even follow what was going on with that case because there were 3 different plea sheets that all said negotiated. The Senate sheet said non-negotiated. And the sentence was to different counts than the pleas sheets were. So I don't know. I would think the Senate sheet would control. Did y'all look at that? I mean, it's a certified copy, but it makes no sense. It's like the first page says he's pleading to counts 1 and 3. And then there's another one that is he's pleading to count 7. I don't know if it's count 7, but... And they're all the same indictment number. And then there's a third one that says he's pleading to count 9 or something. And then you go to the Senate sheet, and that's not even what he pled to. And I don't know if it was negotiated or non-negotiated, which doesn't really matter. It's just really hard to follow what he even pled to there. One of them was definitely a gang count way back in the day. It didn't say which gang or anything like that. Then there was a 11 SC non-negotiated to burglary, a 13 SC non-negotiated to possession of marijuana with intent, and then a 19 SC that was mainly a guilty plea, but Alfred on one of the many charges that was also non-negotiated, and that was like possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, which I guess maybe he was saying I didn't know it was around. I don't know, and that's why it was Alfred. But I don't know if we need an Alfred explanation, given that maybe I'll just, I don't know if you want me to highlight what it was or just say he had some guilty pleas.
It sounds like we have the explanation for Alfred coming in.
Anyway.
You're right. So I don't think we need to overly
Okay.
confuse
Okay.
the issues with that.
So then I think it would read, certain guilty plea convictions are about to be admitted in this case, and we'll do it right before Mr. Kendrick's pleas come in. And how are they coming in? Are you just going to, is it going to be through a witness, or are you just going to tender them?
Your Honor, I believe the state's going to just tender those into evidence.
Okay. Is it one or more than one?
I believe
For
it's,
Mr. Kendrick.
I believe it's just one for Mr. Kendrick.
Okay. Well, then it would be a guilty plea and not certain convictions. A guilty plea conviction is about to be admitted in this case. A guilty plea of Mr. Kendrick will be admitted
What up, Pawsy McPawsiton? Appreciate you joining, family.
for your consideration and may be considered by you only against Mr. Kendrick and only as to counts 1 and 63. And then we would roll into, in addition, guilty plea convictions of Mr. Stillwell have previously been admitted for your consideration, and those may be considered by you only against Mr. Stillwell and only as to counts 1, 52, and 64. You may not use the conviction of Mr. Kendrick in your consideration or deliberations against Mr. Stillwell. It is not evidence of anything against Mr. Stillwell. Likewise, you may not use the convictions of Mr. Stillwell in your consideration or deliberations against Mr. Kendrick. They are not evidence of anything against Mr. Kendrick. Each defendant has a right to have his guilt or innocence determined solely on the basis of the evidence presented against him, not by what may or may have happened with regard to a criminal prosecution of someone else. And then, would this be the time to also say, and hey, by the way, jury, Earlier in this case, a guilty plea conviction was entered, or guilty plea convictions of Mr. Nichols were entered. They were Alford anyway, not guilty pleas. But, and then basically say those would only have been, you could only consider those against Mr. Nichols. And so given that Mr. Nichols is no longer a part of this prosecution, they're really no longer in evidence before you?
Yes.
Okay. And then you also heard testimony about a guilty plea of Mr. Winfrey. You should not consider that against these defendants either, and just not say much more than that, or what do you think?
Your Honor, the state does believe to not highlight or revisit in the jury's minds that testimony. We're trying to tell them to disregard that. Keeping that instruction brief has merit for the purpose, and the state wanted to add, and I was trying to find, there was an older version that I believe Ms. Percifield or the court had sent where what the state wanted to include was a brief line, not that evidence has been admitted, but if there's something for the jury to know that if they find other evidence outside of the conviction for in any of those matters, they can consider that.
It's the language you would put in for various riots.
Yeah.
In preparation for this.
Okay. Thoughts?
My concern about that additional language, it just risks confusion of something that's already complicated enough, I think, for the jury.
I mean, I guess they can always ask about it when they're deliberating if they are wondering. Take it up then.
I just need to add something important to the record. And Your Honor, I appreciate.
What up, Ash Bay? I see you. Appreciate you joining, family.
The attempts
My
to
bad.
craft a curative instruction.
Yeah.
I just want to be clear, very clear, on behalf of Mr. Stillwell on the record, that while we do appreciate those attempts, we are not waiving any appellate issues regarding the admission of these convictions.
Understood, and it may very well be that we get through this whole trial, and if there is a conviction, that it gets reversed because of things that occurred before I was ever involved in. You know, if that's what happens, that's what happens. I'm just, at this point, trying.
What you mean if that's what happens, that's what happens? Why don't you fix it right now instead of making them have to wait till they appeal? Why don't you just dismiss this case? Because you know the judge messed up. You be talking about, I think it's coming up right now, clearing up another one of his mistakes again. He been just telling people shit that ain't even a law. He been making his own law.
Over time.
And to where there may have been something that could have been handled differently, try to the extent possible to remedy it now so that when they are deliberating, to the extent possible, they're deliberating, understanding what it is they can and can't consider. But I understand that, and your objections are reserved and preserved on that issue.
I appreciate that, Your Honor, and also just as I know we have the Harvey rule, but just as a belt and suspenders, we have a similar stances.
Okay.
Understood. Mr. Sharp.
All right. Will you be introducing those convictions before lunch?
No, Your Honor.
Okay.
And they very well may not. Well, no, definitely not before lunch.
Definitely not before lunch.
Yes,
okay, so that'll give me time to try to get specific language and not just what I off the cuff said just now. But, Madam Court Reporter, would there be a way for you to give me a rough, like at lunchtime, of the two things I just said? Yeah. Okay, great. All right.
Oh, Your Honor,
yes.
There was one brief matter that from when I was speaking with Mr. Sharp about the wiretap, there was two calls, and by my notes, they were referred to collectively as the UNC calls, and the court's instruction from my review of when we argued these was the state intended to play these without redacting UNC's statement, but the court had mentioned
Defense and the state have stipulated to some matters regarding the testimony of Ms. Francisco. And the stipulation is that the shell casings from APD case number 2022-00459 are shell casings collected from 2830 Waters Road on the early morning hours of March 16th, excuse me, the evening hours of March 16th. Morning hours of March 16th, when police responded to that scene. And APD 2022-00438 is one shell casing collected, one FN shell casing collected by Detective Leon Packer when he returned to 2830 Waters Road to execute the search warrant on March 17th, 2022.
Okay, thank you. And remember, jurors, when the parties stipulate to something, you can accept that as fact without any further proof.
Do you know in this case that you were working on, if by anyone 40 caliber projectiles were placed in this bullet track system? Do you have any awareness of that?
I would not.
Okay. All right, thank you. No further questions.
All right, any redirect? No redirect. Okay, thank you for your time. Call your next witness.
Yes, Your Honor. The state calls Detective Belknap to the stand.
Is this a recalled witness? Yes. Okay, that's what.
Yes, Your Honor.
Look, that boy lost his hiding from camera privilege. Look, the cameraman was gonna hide it too. Nah, you lost that, Playboy.
Is this a witness that is the video is limited on? No. Yes. No.
No.
Okay. Thank you for checking.
Yes, Your Honor.
He went from on camera to off camera to on camera again.
And Detective, I'll just remind you that you're still under oath.
You what?
Welcome back, Detective Belknap.
Thank you.
What?
Now, I wanted to ask you about a time where, do you know Detective Hogan with APD Homicide?
I do.
And was there ever a time that you provided any assistance to him in identifying someone in a case he was working?
I did.
Can you describe for the jury how that came about?
During the investigation of the homicide of Shamel Drinks, I was asked to review some photographs of potential suspects in that case.
What up, Daniel Judge? I see you. Appreciate you joining.
And were you able to assist in identifying
Did I say what's up to Tat Flocker earlier? I'm not sure, but if not, what's up, family?
any of those suspects for Detective Hogan?
I was.
Can you describe for the jury how or what you did and how you were able to assist him on that?
We had located some social media photographs of a potential suspect. The suspect looked familiar to me, but I couldn't recall a name for the suspect. I reached out to another law enforcement contact who was able to send back a photograph of Mr. Quamarvius Nichols, who I immediately recognized was, in fact, the person from the social media pictures.
And did you share that with Detective Hogan for his case?
I did.
Now,
That's when they had that sidebar. Look, when he said some shit.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Shard was like,
before we get
they brought Shard over there. Like, look, bruh, you can't be saying this type of stuff. I know they didn't tell you, but here, let me tell you, because obviously they not prepping their witnesses, Mr. Expert, Mr. Expert man.
Ladies and gentlemen, before we get started back with the testimony, I just wanted to let y'all know to disregard the witness's comment about a warrant being taken for Mr. Stillwell for drugs. Go ahead, Mr.
Hold on. What is going on? Hold on 1 second. What's that, 106? Peace to all the gods and goddesses. Back again with the vibes of the divine.
And
I
I
am
believe that we're headed in the right direction.
Contact who was able to send back a photograph of Mr. Quamarvius Nichols, who I immediately recognized was, in fact, the person from the social media pictures.
And did you share that with Detective Hogan for his case?
I did.
Now, turn.
All right, my bad. I had to restart.
Ladies and gentlemen, before we get started back with the testimony, I just wanted to let y'all know to disregard the witness's comment about a warrant being taken from Mr. Stillwell for drugs. Go ahead, Mr. Atkins.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now, Detective Belknap, you never took out any warrants for any of the drugs related to that book bag as it pertains to Shan Stillwell, did you?
No, sir, I did not.
Did you take out gang warrants?
I did.
And did you take out firearm and gang warrants as well on Mr. Nichols?
I did.
No further questions. Thank you, Detective Belknap.
Yes, sir.
All right, so we just need to get clear.
I had to rip another page out. Disregard that. Disregard that. Another page ripped out the toe up notebook. They notebook got like 3 pages left.
With the witness what he can and cannot say.
Yes, Your Honor. And if the court may permit, can I?
Do y'all just want to?
Yes.
Yes. Search of Jeffrey Williams' address at 355 Allison Drive on May 9th, 2022. You were present for that search, correct?
I was.
You were one of the officers executing the search.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and you didn't write a report about the execution of that search warrant, did you?
I did not.
Okay. Investigator Storno wrote a report, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and I have asked you to review photos taken during the execution of that search warrant, and I've also asked you to review Investigator Storno's notes or report, correct?
That's correct.
And you were kind enough to do that for me, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, excellent. And Mr. Atkins, if I could have your help displaying any images.
That's facts, Drea. Appreciate you joining, family. Every time they tell the jury disregard it, it just make it that much more highlighted. Like, oh, okay, y'all was on some more bullshit. Let me just put this on my next page. I'm gonna put the last page with some bullshit, so I had to rip it out.
As Detective Belknap speaks about things, I'd appreciate it. On May 9th, 2022, do you recall who was present at 355 Allison Drive when you executed the search warrant?
Could you be more specific?
Okay. Jeffrey Williams was present, correct?
Yes, sir.
Martinez Arnold was present.
Yes, sir.
Diamante Kendrick was present.
Yes, sir.
Jeffrey Williams' teenage son was present, correct?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. My client, Shannon Stillwell, was not present at 355 Allison Drive on May 9th, 2022, was he?
He was not.
Okay. And you don't have any evidence at all that Mr. Stillwell has ever even been to that residence, do you?
No, I don't.
Okay. All right. And during that search warrant was sought out by Investigator Viverito, is that correct?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay. And during that search warrant, executing that search warrant on May 9th, 2022, you all collected drugs, correct? Suspected drugs?
We did.
Delta 8 syrup as well?
Yes.
Okay. Jewelry?
Yes.
Money?
Yes.
Phones?
Yes.
Mr. Williams' cars were seized?
That's correct.
And I'm not going to ask any questions about any of those things, but you also collected guns, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. In fact, there were 6 guns collected, correct?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. And you have reviewed pictures taken during the execution of that search warrant, correct?
I did.
Okay. I would like to just talk about each gun individually. I can go in whatever order you have, if you could just tell us, do you have photos in front of you that display the different types of guns and the different guns that were collected on May 9th, 2022?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Could you just tell us the exhibit number of the first gun so Mr. Atkins can display it for the jury?
The first one I'm looking at is 57XX.
Do you have any evidence that Mr. Stillwell has ever touched any of these firearms?
I do not.
Okay. Do you have any evidence that ballistically, any of these firearms were ever used in the Shamal Drinks homicide?
I didn't conduct that follow-up investigation, so I don't know whether it was or wasn't, but I'm not aware of any evidence that it was. Or any of them were.
And that includes the switch too, correct?
It does.
Okay. And do you have any evidence, ballistically or otherwise, that any of these guns were used in the January 10, 2015 shooting of Donovan Thomas?
I do not.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Do any of y'all in this case have any evidence of anything except for some emojis and tweets and rap lyrics? That's y'all whole case built on? That's crazy. What's up, Cynthia Torp? I see you, family. Dropping the not guilties. Appreciate you, family.
All right. I appreciate that, Detective Belknap. I'm going to move to your work on March 17th. When you arrived on Meadowlark Drive, you saw the white Audi, correct?
Yes, sir.
It was still in the parking lot.
It was in the driveway, yes.
Excuse me. Yes, sorry. The driveway. Still had the Maryland tags affixed to it?
It did.
Still had the tint?
I don't recall noting the tint.
Okay.
I don't believe the car had been altered.
Okay.
They gonna go through this chat and they gonna be like, yep, all y'all was using them slime umbrellas and them slime emojis. Uh-huh. Y'all gang, huh? They gonna be like, I said game.
You don't believe the car had been altered? What do you mean by that?
I don't believe the car had been moved or processed at that time when I arrived on the scene.
Oh, okay. You mentioned finding a beanie.
Yes, sir.
And that is an evidence that was just admitted through you.
Correct.
Okay. So that beanie would be a separate beanie from any beanie that was collected on March 17th at 2830 Waters Road.
I don't know the answer to that question. I mean, it was collected on Meadowlark Lane.
It was collected on
Meadowlark
Meadowlark
Drive.
Lane.
Yes.
Okay. So if there's a separate beanie, if there's a beanie that was collected and put into evidence from Waters Road.
Sapphire Ridge News, what's good? What's good, family?
There's two separate beanies, correct?
It would appear so, yes.
And the beanie that you collected on Meadowlark Drive was, well, do you know who was wearing that prior to their arrest?
Yes, sir.
And was it my client, Shannon Stillwell?
It was.
And you collected that beanie because you had viewed the BP video that Detective Hogan had showed you already, correct?
I had.
And you had noted...
Chloe Albert Revenge. This case is riddled with defects and shell casings, but no guns. That's what killed me. Well, they got guns, but the guns don't match the shells. They got different guns, but they don't match none of that. It's riddled with defects. The real definition, not by Miss Hilton definition.
That Mr. Stillwell was wearing a pink beanie in that BP video.
I had observed that, yes.
And that's clear video as far as videos go. It wasn't grainy, it was clear. And you saw Mr. Stillwell.
Crystal, what up? What up, family? Appreciate you joining. Chris G.
While wearing the pink beanie.
Yes.
And that's why you collected this pink beanie, because he was, in your mind as a detective, it was important to collect that pink beanie because it matched.
I said game.
What's in the BP video.
Well, I agree with that. Just to be clear, it was collected prior to my arrival and was given to me to transport to property.
Okay. And you made sure you put it into property?
I did.
Okay. The bag of drugs, did you recover that backpack?
I did not.
Okay. Have you seen the video from the Phoenix helicopter?
I have.
Okay, and you would agree that it was Mr. Nichols that threw that book bag into those bushes, correct?
I would. Yes, sir.
All right. And prior to, from that video, you can see Mr. Nichols exiting the white Audi with that book bag.
That's correct.
Okay. In your experience as an officer, you have seen people flee from the police because they have drugs in the car, correct?
I have.
Okay. The FN Hurstel 5.7, serial number 386409184, that I believe is in evidence 221 VV. That was
KP game.
collected by Trooper Campbell and given to you for evidence, correct?
That's correct.
All right. And you would agree that that gun is not a switch. It's not modified, not a switch.
No, it is not.
Okay. And then later, you were called by an Officer Klickner to collect an FNX 45, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And just to be clear, the FN, going back, the FN 57 shoots 5.7 rounds, correct?
That's correct.
All right. And the FNX 45 tactical shoots 45 caliber rounds.
Yes.
And you collected those firearms and brought them into property, into evidence to preserve for further investigation, correct?
I did.
Okay. Those two guns, either the 5.7 and the 45, do you have any ballistic evidence linking those guns to the January 10, 2015 shooting of Donovan Thomas?
I didn't conduct any ballistics investigations on the firearms, so I don't have any ballistics evidence related to these.
Do you have any evidence that connects them to the January 10 shooting of Donovan Thomas as we see here today?
I do not.
Okay. And how about, and let me ask you, okay, and how about this? Those two guns, the 5.7 and the 45, do you have any ballistic evidence that connects those guns to the March 14, 2017 shooting of Shamel Drinks?
I don't have ballistic evidence of any kind related to these weapons.
In fact, neither the 5.7 or the 45 even shoots 40 caliber. They're not capable of shooting 40 caliber rounds, are they?
Neither is chambered to shoot a 40 caliber round.
Okay.
So why the hell is y'all? Come on, that's like the third, fourth set of guns, but y'all got all these bullets and ain't none of them matching. The math ain't mathing, man.
You, just a couple more questions. You indicated that Detective Hogan had you look at the video for the FedEx to identify Mr. Stillwell and also Mr. Nichols, correct?
I reviewed the video at some point. I believe that what I initially saw were some of the social media photos of Mr. Nichols. I don't remember what I saw initially.
Did you review the BP video at some point?
At some point, yes.
Okay. This is what I want to know. Did you ever review with Detective Hogan or by yourself the FedEx video from March 14, 2017? Excuse me, March 14, 2022.
I don't recall if I ever reviewed that video.
Okay, so you're not even certain if you've ever seen it.
I don't know. I'm not certain if I have or not.
All right, thank you. No further questions.
Redirect.
Oh, okay.
Matt, it's good to see you again.
Yes, sir. You too.
So I have some questions about what you said today. You mentioned that to Mr. Shart that Mr. Kendrick was present in the house at Allison Drive on May 9th, 2022, correct?
I don't recall exactly what his question was, but yes.
Okay. Did you actually see Mr. Kendrick in the house?
I did not.
Okay. The 6 guns that were found in that house, in Mr. Williams' house, do you have any evidence that Mr. Kendrick was ever in possession of those 6 guns?
I do not.
Do you have any evidence that he was anywhere near those 6 guns?
I do not.
Did you take part in the inventory, possession, or transport of the jewelry that was found in Mr. Williams' home?
My role during the search was to take photographs of evidence as it was recovered.
Do you recall there being 2 Richard Mille watches in Mr. Williams' home?
I don't know if I would know those if I saw them, so I don't know if there were 2 or not.
Okay. Do you recall seeing it's a Richard Mille brand. I understand you don't know what that brand would look like, but do you recall seeing a white ceramic watch with a pink band in the jewelry that you collected, or that was collected in that home?
I believe one was. Do I remember seeing it? I certainly don't. This, a couple years later.
Okay. If a Richard Mille RM055 Bubba Watson white ceramic watch is not present in property today, do you know what happened to that watch?
I wouldn't have any idea.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
All right, Blue Dream. Appreciate you, family.
Detective Belknap, on cross, you were asked by defense counsel to ask you about. Thank you, Mr. Body. You were asked on cross by defense counsel about a watch. Do you remember that?
I do.
Now, I'm just going to come out and ask you because we've been dancing around it. Did you steal any watch or know of any APD personnel who stole any item from that house?
Absolutely not.
Can you tell the jury the protocols that are in place when you document? Was everyone wearing body cam?
They were.
And can you describe for the jury the process y'all have when you go through that large amount of evidence on a scene like that? In terms of, do you video when you're putting it into property?
Yes, usually our.
Nah, laugh. If you can't see the join button, it's probably because you're on some type of Apple device. And YouTube is part of Google, which is part of Android, which does not work well with Apple. So you would have to go to a Chrome browser to see the join button. Some type of Chrome browser. Appreciate y'all being here, family. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, tap in, share with a friend.
Body cameras will be running during the search of the home, during the transport, and at property when submitting property.
And were you all on scene or working that case for a short time or a long time?
We were out there for several hours.
One brief moment, Your Honor.
You were asked on redirect if you're aware of any member of the APD that would have stolen this particular watch I asked you about, correct?
Yes, sir.
Do you have full and total knowledge of all the activities of members of APD?
I don't.
If this particular watch, this Richard Mille watch, ceramic watch, is present in a photograph from Jeffrey Williams' home and it is no longer present in property right now, could anything have happened to that watch other than it have been stolen or lost?
Well, no, not every item that we photograph is ultimately taken as evidence, and I think.
But if it was one of them that was sitting on that table, they would have for sure got convicted and said y'all stole that watch, right? If it was one of them, Yak Gotti or Shannon, they would have been using that as evidence. Yeah, he took a picture, and then the watch was gone.
There are probably a broad number of possibilities of what could have happened to that watch.
You would.
Stolen or lost.
Move for time.
Is it the practice of of your office to leave behind a $500,000 watch when you're seizing jewelry?
I don't know that I can answer that as far as practices go. I have no idea the value of this watch that we're discussing, so I'm woefully uneducated as far as that goes. And I can tell you that, unfortunately, as diligent as we are, sometimes even evidence is left behind at scenes. In this case, I don't have any specific information about this particular watch.
Can you explain to the jury the procedure when you go about seizing a vehicle, such as was seized at Jeffrey Williams' home?
As far as the procedure, we would call a tow truck to come and tow that vehicle to another location.
Is there any searching of the vehicle and inventorying of property within that vehicle at the time of the seizure?
It can depend on the scene and if there's a search warrant for the vehicle or if the vehicle is accessible. Sometimes the keys may not be present, can't access a vehicle, and sometimes it's towed to a secure location to conduct an inventory or further processing of that vehicle.
If the vehicle is accessible at the scene and you have a warrant that allows you to enter that vehicle, what's the procedure for what you do with the contents of the vehicle?
Typically, those contents would be cataloged, valuable items may be secured, evidence may be seized.
Is the procedure to leave valuable items within the vehicle?
Not typically, and again, that could be case dependent if the vehicle is going to be removed to another secure location for further processing.
Okay, thank you. I have no further questions.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you for your time.
She testified that she develops a training course, and that in that course she trains other law enforcement on gang investigation. And so we wanted the materials from that course because we believe that we need those in our cross-examination of her. You know, and of course I come from a civil background where I'm used to getting all kinds of information with regard to experts testifying, and we haven't received an expert report from her. Which
This one doesn't exist.
That's
And
true.
If
One doesn't
exist.
exist.
One does not have training created.
True, and I'm not disagreeing with the court, but certainly training materials that she uses does exist. We've asked for it. We've not.
My bad, that's they audio. I would have clipped it, but that's some important stuff he talking about. The training video. If y'all been doing trainings, you should have a full pamphlet, DVD, all type of stuff that we can look at. What are you training them from? Where's the slides? Where's any of it? The PowerPoint, not just the Planters Peanuts PowerPoint. Where's the training PowerPoint?
Been provided with it.
When's the last time y'all brought that up to the state that, hey, we still need those things?
I cannot tell you, but we've repeatedly asked for them over the course of the last year, Your Honor, and we were told by the previous court that at some point that may become, actually, what did the court say? It might be something that may need to be tendered at that point or brought up if does come in as an expert. We're at the point now where she's being presumably brought in to testify as some combination of fact witness and expert witness. So we still don't have those materials, Your Honor. I don't have an issue with her testifying as a fact witness.
I understand. I'm just saying, like, we've had Investigator Viverito has been on the state's list for weeks and weeks, and the time to have brought up, oh, hey, we don't have the training materials yet, would have been sometime before when she's probably already here. And if she doesn't have them in her bag, because nobody's reminded her, she's not probably going to be able to access them unless she can maybe do it electronically. I don't mind asking Mr. Adkins to either himself or have one of his investigators step out to wherever she is and see if she could access anything electronically and provide it. But if she can't, you know, it's kind of understandable right now since we didn't give her a heads up anytime recently, even though we knew she was going to be testifying, to search your files and find them.
I understand, Your Honor. So if maybe they could do an additional request and maybe it will come up, maybe it won't. If she is allowed to testify as an expert, though, I would ask the court to follow the previous court's order that there's a bifurcation of her factual testimony from her expert testimony in order to prevent confusion to the jury. There was also an instruction that the previous court had come up with. I will endeavor to find it. That was to be read to the jury prior to her testifying at. This is, by the way, not specific to her. It was all the witnesses that were in the dual,
Okay, well, I'm not sure that it's 100% feasible to.
I don't know. We halfway through. FFS a no call, no show today, unless he gonna show up late.
To say, okay, for this set of questions, it's one thing, and for the next set, it's another. But I will instruct the state to instruct her, or in the way you ask your questions, make it clear to the jury. All right, at this point, I'm asking you your expert opinion about whatever it is you may ask.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, and I mean, to the extent that you can separate them, do, but I mean, there may be times when she's saying, here's some social media post, and then, for instance, she might need to testify because I've got this background in gangs, I know that this particular emoji means something or another.
So is the previous court's order no longer in effect about the statement that's to be read?
No, I'm trying to.
Look, how you gonna be correcting this stuff like this right here in the middle? But you saying we're not gonna go back and revisit, we're not gonna change nothing, but then you want to correct it right here on the spot? We need to revisit a lot of stuff then. We need to correct all them bond hearings that he did too.
Say how it practically needs to be implemented. And if you want to provide me with whatever instruction you're talking about, I'll take a look. And
okay. And then I'm going to, because of what the court just said, that I 1,000% agree with the court that it's very difficult to handle this dual witness, and it is why I objected to witnesses in this dual role. There's plenty of case law that goes against it, but I'm going to maintain an objection to a witness testifying in the dual role as an expert and a fact witness, Your Honor. Just like a continuing objection on that.
All right. Well, I think it happens fairly frequently. And she was qualified as an expert, right? I mean, y'all got a ruling after the Daubert hearing, right?
I believe that's correct. Correct, Your Honor.
That's what I thought. All right. Anything else? I don't know if we have the jury ready yet or not. They should be. It's 9, but I'll have to check on that. Yes, sir.
Your Honor, I believe Deputy Sprinkle is right outside. I'm just going to go double check.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. And I don't know if Investigator Viverito is here or not yet, but can somebody get word to her to try to find?
Drea said, did the defense ever get the black book of gangs? From Dennis. Hey, what up, Destined to Be? I see you. Yeah, we missed you, family. Appreciate you joining. The black book.
For training materials.
Yes, Your Honor.
No, jury's not ready. Okay. All right. Did y'all find out any additional information about those couple of items? You were going to try to either find out like who the people were, or there were a couple where you were going to try to find out the date it got posted. Do we know the answers to those things?
Yes.
Okay. And Mr. Abate, did you get a chance to check the sound so that we at least believe it's going to be working right when Mr. Sprinkle?
Yes, we checked it last
All
night.
right, great, thanks. Good.
See if the rain was.
Who knows?
I want to know if
I think I'm going to change Kat's side to when she say, body, yaddy, yaddy, yaddy.
follow through on his promise to narrow down the number of calls. I did. All right. Can't wait to see that.
Mr. Abadi always fulfills his promise. Instead of an hour and 20 minutes, I thought it would be.
That 200 that Dennis had, that he took, he didn't give it back. He didn't say he was getting bribed. And no, it ain't in that damn evidence locker.
Okay. Judge, just thinking forward while we have a minute, I was thinking forward about what we were talking about happening in the near future.
Mm-hmm.
And regarding directed verdict motions.
Right.
I think it may be We have obviously a lot of
Evidence.
evidence in this paper.
Yep.
If I could request the state and maybe the court ask the state to, typically, my understanding is with each witness they've made, that they've presented, they've made PowerPoints of the evidence that they're seeking to admit, and generally, we've complained when it hasn't happened, but generally they've given it to us before the witness testified. They've given us a hard copy.
Okay.
If I was just thinking last night, if the state could forward all those PowerPoints of the evidence that's been admitted to all parties, if they have them in the PowerPoint still, that may help everyone in kind of formulating and getting to the bottom of what's in evidence as opposed to.
Hey yo, BD. Hey yo, Chai Digger, you wasn't here earlier. I think we was trying to figure out who he is. He said that he the one that took the plea, and the other turtles is locked up. So I was thinking he might have been probably like Leonardo or Donatello. Now that I think about it, not Michelangelo. I'll take that back. And then everybody say he's Shredder. What you think, Chai Diggy? Which one is he?
Digging through this before Monday or Tuesday or whenever we.
Okay, but y'all are going to have to, or we even, are going to have to dig through,
We are.
as you say, the evidence anyway, because we're going to have to sort out what goes out with the
We are.
jury and what doesn't. But I'm sure the state will be happy to do that to the extent they
Shout out to KP. Appreciate you, family.
have those available. Thank you. Great, and if you can provide that to the court as well. Thank you.
So, Judge, I believe, and I'll let Mr. Sharp, Mr. Weinstein look through. I think I took almost all of the ones out that we spoke about that we didn't know the origin, except for one.
Okay.
It was a video where the name of the profile for the Instagram profile is Shell_8044. And I did determine it was taken from speaking with Investigator Viverito on April 1st of 2022. So during that time period, right after the Drinks murder. And but if she told me who it was, it's slipping my mind, and she's right outside, so I can go ask her about that and her training materials. But I will let them flip through this.
All right.
This is your copy.
And I'm just going to remind the state when we're going through the wiretap, and there are the two spots, I think, where I need to caution them that it's only Garlington's words. Just give me a heads up.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
I've made a specific note to.
Great. Thanks.
Tell them get 10 or 13 good songs and drop it. And
Okay.
tell them to find, like, don't use that red bandana shit. Even though the bandana burgundy, just tell them to find, like, a picture, like, on slime sheet. And what I was finna say, man, these days going, like, so slow.
Yeah, the day is only the 4th. But I'll be there. Your judge is Judge Atkins. Put his name in the universe. His name Judge Atkins. I done looked him up. I done saw him before, too.
Got a lawyer.
We got, Doug, I'm working on that now.
Just say
You know-
broke. Not say name.
Huh?
Just say broke. Don't say the name.
Broke, yeah, broke.
Hey,
Stopping at 3 minutes and 14 seconds. Thank you, Deputy Sprinkle. No more questions by the state, Your Honor.
Mr. Sprinkle.
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
Very well.
Y'all think Judge Atkins and Atkins related? Y'all think it's a conspiracy? Are they gang?
Well, thank you.
Okay.
Atkins gang?
Mr. Sprinkle, I want to talk to you about the phone calls from the jail with my client, Shannon Stillwell, on them, okay?
Okay.
And I know you testified before about this briefly. How many total calls did you review involving Shannon Stillwell?
I don't know how many I reviewed. It would probably been around 30
Okay, we got you, Steph JK. Put your address in the chat.
to 50, somewhere in there. I downloaded over 700, though.
All right. The first call that we heard was 590Y. What date was that first call that we heard?
Well, if we're talking about today, it was October 31st, 2015.
And that was right after Mr. Stillwell had been, you're aware that Mr. Stillwell was a victim in a case where Tierra Jones was shot and killed.
Yes.
And you're aware that car that they were in, you're
He say he Raphael. Y'all got it wrong. It's Raphael. I saw somebody new up in here. Oh, I can't see it. I'm going to come back to it when I pass it. Appreciate y'all, family. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. Tap in, share with a friend.
aware that the facts of that case was a car
They think you Rico. They said Rico, 73% so far.
sped up behind the car that Tierra Jones was driving and shot a bunch of rounds into the back of the car that Shannon Stillwell, Tierra Jones, and Miss Duncan were in, correct?
That's what happened.
Okay. And Tierra Jones was tragically killed.
Yes.
And Shannon was severely injured not from gunfire, but from the car flipping.
That's correct.
And he went to the hospital.
Yes.
Okay, so this call on October 31st, 2015 is within a day or two of Mr. Stillwell being released from the hospital. Well, let me back up. While at the hospital, he was served arrest warrants for the Donovan Thomas case.
I believe he was at the hospital at the time, yes.
Okay, and so this call is right after Mr. Stillwell was released from the hospital and is now in Fulton County Jail on those charges.
I don't know when he was released from the hospital, but that sound, given the
That's a fact, Chad Diggy. 7% of people who joined in the poll, they said it's gonna be guilty. There we go, Gorf Love. That's who I was thinking of. What up?
timeline of when the Tierra Jones murder occurred and about when the arrest warrants were issued, I'll say that you're correct on that.
Okay. That first call, you hear Shannon speaking to a young lady.
Yes.
All right. Do you know who that is?
Betty Jean Jackson is what my notes state.
Okay. Well, Betty Jean Jackson.
Betty Jean. That's Billie Jean's sister? That's not my girl.
Is Mr. Stillwell's grandmother. That
Correct.
didn't sound like his grandmother, did it?
No, but that's the number that he called. That doesn't necessarily mean that's who he was speaking
Okay.
with,
Could he have been speaking to Yvette Barron?
Yes. That's very possible. He spoke with her very often.
All right. And that was a female friend of his?
Yes.
Okay. Now, in that first call we heard, you heard Mr. Stillwell, they were discussing representation, who was going to represent him on this very serious case in 2015.
Yes.
And Mr. Stillwell said something to the effect of, Thug sent a lawyer to visit me.
Yes.
Okay. And then Mr. Stillwell talks about that lawyer said he's worked with all sorts of stars and media cases before.
Yes.
And Mr. Stillwell is trying to figure out if he wants to entrust his life in his lawyer's hands.
Yes.
Okay. Who was the lawyer that met with Mr. Stillwell just before October 31st, 2015?
I don't recall.
Well, you have.
If I ever knew, that is to say, if I ever knew to begin with, I may have, but I don't know now.
You have the ability to look in the Odyssey system to see what lawyers visit.
Yo, Mookie, I don't know if it's going to be tonight, but I do think that beef that they all talking about, I think that's kind of fake. I don't know for sure, but I think they going to come out on stage together and make the crowd go crazy. You drop a new song, everybody going to go crazy. Like, oh, I thought they was beefing. Oh, my gosh. His account was hacked. Y'all think about it. If this whole court system, the DA's whole office could get hacked, y'all think they can't hack a Twitter, X account? He could have easily got hacked. And plus, they had all his phones and information. They could easily be controlling all with them posts. Just like them fake accounts Burrito was talking about.
Clients on a daily basis, correct?
Yes, but that's logged in the jail manager area, and in my experience, sometimes visits don't get logged.
Okay.
I guess I can't say I don't know what's not logged, but there have been times when I either knew or suspected that an inmate received a visit and I didn't see that it had been logged in Odyssey. But this visit may have been logged. I don't recall. If it was, it should still be in there.
Could it have been a Michael Bixon?
Yeah, that name sounds familiar. I think that you're right.
Okay. In fact, you know that Michael Bixon filed your office, the district attorney's office, did not indict this Donovan Thomas case, the alleged murder. You did not indict this case for several years.
That's right.
Okay. And several of those years, Mr. Stillwell was in jail, unindicted, charged with the Donovan Thomas homicide.
I don't know how long he was in jail, but it was certainly unindicted for a number of years.
You know that Mr. Bixon, on behalf of Mr. Stillwell, filed a constitutional speedy trial demand.
Objection, Your Honor, to the relevance to this.
Okay? Are you aware that Michael Bixon filed
objection, Your Honor.
motions?
Sustained.
Do you have any evidence that I, Max Shard, went to visit Mr. Stillwell in October 31st of 2015?
No, I don't believe it would have been you.
Okay. You don't have any evidence that I ever spoke to Mr. Stillwell before he was arrested on this RICO indictment in 2022, correct? You have no evidence of that.
I don't know who you were speaking with in October of 2022, or if you had spoken with him or you hadn't. I have no idea.
Okay.
Don't worry, Big Burrito coming up soon. We got her up top. She in the corner right now. Her and Love, they in trouble. They in timeout.
But you have no reason to believe that he was speaking about Thug sending me to see him in October 31st of 2015.
No, I don't think you would have been even in a position to represent him then, if I recall correctly.
Okay. Thank you. Now, moving on to the third call, November 23rd at 4:08 p.m. We hear Mr. Stillwell speaking to another man in that call, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And now,
Betty Jean is my auntie. Some of y'all really be knowing these people too. I wouldn't doubt if you telling the truth. That's probably your real auntie.
that was a day, there's a thing called preliminary hearings, correct?
Yes.
And preliminary hearings are when someone's arrested, the case is not indicted. There's a court date where an investigator comes in and testifies as to the evidence.
Hey, that's a fact, Ash Bay. That's why Jeff, Young Thug, was like, man, no, I got to get up out of here. I don't trust that jury. You don't know. It's 50-50.
In the case.
That's usually, it doesn't have to be an investigator, but probably over 98.
Matter of fact, that if y'all ain't seen Juror number 2, I know y'all ain't seen it because it's in theaters right now, but if y'all able to watch it at home, or if y'all want to go to the movies to see it, I would definitely say watch it, check it out. They definitely talking about this case. It's by Clint Eastwood, and yeah, it's Juror number 2, and they got the King Slime tattoo and all that, and they trying to convict an innocent man, and one of the crooked people is on the jury. Y'all gotta at least watch the trailer. Check it out, Juror number 2. It's crazy.
Percent of the time it is.
Okay, and you're aware that Mr. Stillwell had a preliminary hearing on the Donovan Thomas case in November of 2015.
Yes.
Okay. Have you reviewed the transcript of that hearing?
No.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this. In that hearing, it was Detective Thorpe who testified, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Kenneth Copeland didn't testify at that hearing.
No.
Okay. Quindarius Zachary did not testify at that hearing.
No.
Okay, so when Mr. Stillwell is talking about what happened at the hearing, he's not talking about what Kenneth Copeland or Quindarius Zachary said at the hearing. He's talking about what Detective Thorpe is testified that they said.
That's right.
Okay. Now, I want to be very clear on this. On that tape, Mr. Stillwell, and this was after his prelim was held, correct?
Yes.
This November 23rd phone call?
Yes.
In fact, it was right after his prelim was held.
I don't recall the exact date of the prelim. I remember it was in November, and given some of the contextual details of that call, it sounds like it was very close in time to this phone call that we listened to.
Okay. In that phone call we just listened to, the volume was a little low and the audio goes in and out a little bit. You would agree?
Yes.
Okay. I want to be very clear. Shannon, on that phone call to that other gentleman, says, little D, and this is right after the prelim, little D is saying that I said I did it, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
He did not say, let's just clear this up because the tape's not the best. He did not say, I told little D I did it.
That's right.
He did not say that. He merely said, little D is saying that I said I did it.
That's right.
Okay. Also in that tape, you hear Mr.
Fatima, what up? Appreciate you joining, family.
Stillwell and this other gentleman talking about what's going on, the predicament that Mr. Stillwell is in, correct?
Yes.
Okay. The other gentleman says N-words trying to free themselves, correct?
That sounds right, yes.
They trying to get the heat off their ass.
Yes, that was said.
People trying to point fingers at others while not putting themselves at the scene.
Yeah, I believe that's a verbatim quote, yes.
Okay, and trying to free themselves, trying to get the heat off their ass. This is after Mr. Copeland gave statements against Mr. Stillwell on June 1st of 2015, right?
Yes.
And in the context of that interview, he was facing federal charges.
Mr. Copeland was, yes.
He was facing gun charges.
Yes.
He was facing theft charges for stolen merchandise that were in the mother of his child's apartment.
I don't recall that part.
Okay. Computers, where he was claiming Lil Mike and Quez.
I'm objecting to this. I don't know the relevance of that question.
You're not a...
You don't know the relevance. They always using that bullshit relevance. Yo, I just dropped the link to the juror number 2 if y'all want to check out the trailer real quick. What up, why? What, why, and whose? What up, family? Appreciate you joining.
Aware of... It's in evidence.
All right, then overruled.
You're not aware that Mr. Copeland tried to blame a Little Mike?
It's in evidence. Why are y'all fighting against stuff that's in evidence? How did that even make sense?
Denied.
And Quez for stealing things that ended up in...
Hang on just a second. Are you saying whether he knows, whether this witness knows or not?
Okay, you don't have any knowledge.
I don't remember that part.
Okay. Also, trying to get the heat off their ass. The statement by Mr. Zachary claiming that Mr. Stillwell confessed to him, that was made when Mr. Zachary was in jail for shooting up several houses.
Yes.
And was facing federal straw purchasing charges as well.
You went more for time.
No further questions. Thank you.
Ms. Weinstein?
Morning, Mr. Sprinkle.
Good morning.
Regarding the call that was played between Mr. Kendrick's mom, Tasha, and himself, you recall listening to that just now, right?
Yes.
And Mr. Kendrick says, do you hear the language about the mixtape about to drop?
You know, I used to have a song called Get Loose Off the Goose when I was a teenager. Loose off the goose.
In that call.
Yes.
Did you investigate that mixtape about to drop?
If I did, I don't recall now.
Okay.
Hi, guys.
And
How is
associated with that-
everybody?
Do you recall if
It's-
associated with that mixtape is an image of my client wearing a bandana?
I do not.
Okay. But there is a reference in that call where my client informs his mother to change that bandana away from a certain color. I think he says a red color, correct?
That's right. That's what was said.
And given that the state seems fixated on seeing burgundy as red and orange as red,
Sustained.
do you think it's reasonable for my client to want a bandana viewed as red?
I said, juror number through. Number through.
To be changed to another color?
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained.
Did you know that in your investigation, did you find my client being signed to Young Stoner Life Records in 2015?
I believe so. Yeah, that sounds right.
Okay. And then again, that mixtape being associated with that.
Yes, I don't recall exactly, but that sounds right.
Okay. There's also a reference in there of my client's mom, Miss Tasha, speaking to, I think she says speaking to Thug about a lawyer, correct?
Yes.
Do you have, and I believe it was Mr. Bixson that represented my client at the time, do you have any evidence that anyone other than my client retained? It's not Miss, anyway, let's forget it, whoever the lawyer was. Okay. That's okay. Thank you for your help. The lawyer that was retained for my client at the time, do you have any evidence that anyone other than my client retained that lawyer?
I don't know who paid for the attorney or, no, I don't have any evidence.
Okay. Would you find it unusual that somebody would ask a friend to recommend an attorney?
No.
Okay. Thank you.
Redirect.
Yes, Your Honor. Now, Deputy Sprinkle, as part of your current job, do you handle a number of preliminary hearings that was discussed on cross?
Yes.
And were you at that hearing that was referenced on cross-examination?
I believe so. If it was the same hearing in which Antonio Sledge his hearing was held, then yes, I was absolutely there. And I believe that Mr. Stillwell and Mr. Sledge, this was not over 9 years ago, or 9 years ago, almost probably to the day. So I'm pretty sure I was there.
Now, on cross-examination, there was reference about the information that the preliminary hearing comes from, in this case, Detective Thorpe. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Now, if you remember, and there was reference about, on cross-examination, what Little D or someone said at that hearing. Do you recall that?
I do.
At that preliminary hearing, for witnesses such as Little D, were names used or were something else used?
Well, their legal names would have been used.
And is there any times in preliminary hearings where witnesses are referenced by something other than their name?
Sometimes. Yes, I'll often ask that the detective reference the witnesses by alphanumeric characters like A or 1, because there's a variety of reasons for it, but the basic reason is the case isn't indicted, and so we don't have to turn over the witness list yet, and we're still investigating, et cetera, and so the witness is not compelled or isn't required to recite the legal names or any name of the witness on the stand. Yes.
And if it's the hearing that you are thinking of, you said Antonio Sledge would have also been present?
Yes.
This prelim back in 2015, you don't have any recollection if actual names were used or like witness A, witness B, witness C?
I do not know. Okay.
And in the event that witness A, witness B, witness C were used, just hypothetically, the detective still testifies to the background of who these people are, such as, for instance, witness A, who we found receipts from a pawn shop showing that they purchased guns, said this, right? Or something of that nature. There's context behind these witness A, witness B, witness C.
Right. I mean, if you're...
Hey, Shari be killing me with these hypotheticals. Like, let's do a hypothetical, but he used a real situation.
saying that even if their names aren't used, if the detective provides enough detail regarding the circumstances surrounding the interview that one who is familiar with the witness could infer their identity from the testimony, then yes, that can happen.
You said that so much better than I did, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Ms. Weinstein. All right. Thank you for your time.
Multiple conversations we've had about what certainly moving forward after the DOJ, and we've been anticipating the DOJ report, and we are certainly in a space now that we are happy that it has come out. It has right now in it 109 different remedial opportunities for us as we continue. I do want to point out that if you look at it in its depth, it is a point-in-time study, if you will, and a lot of the things we have worked with the board over the past few months to accomplish, and wanted to...
Yo, I forgot to look up the letter. I got to check and see if Thugger Daily got the letter posted yet, the DOJ letter. Y'all seen this yet? I posted it earlier, but I know y'all was watching the trial. Crazy.
Highlight some of those. We look at, when I took office as sheriff, we had a population of 3,700 individuals, 600 of them sleeping on the floor. We work with the Board of Commissioners to develop an outsourcing plan. Right now, the population has decreased, ultimately because we have had and formed an inmate advocacy unit.
Shoot, me too, Mookie. I usually roll up during a super chat when I ain't got to keep clicking, but ain't no super chat, so I'm going to have to just pause the chat here while I roll me up one, too. Appreciate you, family. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, tap in, share with a friend.
A unit that has gone through and combed through over 30,000 records, work with the DA's office, work with the public defender's office, work with the judges on consent decrees, and release nearly 1,400 people that were considered nonviolent. We also take a look at our accreditation efforts, both with respect to NCCHC, the health accreditation, which we have since attained. We look at some of our daily accomplishments. And we've revamped some training as we must. So we're committed to continuing as daily accomplishments. And we've revamped some training as we have gone along over the last few months. So
I had to rewind that part because I thought that, I couldn't tell, like, why did they clip it? That was the news channel that clipped it. I don't know if the other channels did that, but this one did. Like, what y'all cut off? I gotta go find out and go see what y'all cut. It's making me it's making me think a lot. Smart guy. Suspicious, home.
Committed to continue to work with the Bureau of Justice Assistance Program. as well as the National Institute of Corrections when it comes to what going through some of these remedial efforts look like. And I would suggest to you, certainly with the board's collaboration, we have been able to do some things both structurally to the building that ultimately the chairman will cover, as well as programmatically in terms of what it looks like for us to hire, retain, and really focus on a better sheriff's office. So I'll turn the mic over to the chairman, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
I concur with the sheriff. We've come a long ways in really a short period of time, and we have a few steps yet to go. But I'm encouraged about where we are. I was eagerly, and we as a board, eagerly awaiting the report from the Department of Justice, which we received. I've not had a chance to read it in its entirety yet, but we'll do so. But what I understand, it's pretty comprehensive, but we've made a lot of changes and adjustments so far, although I will admit that we have things that we need to accomplish going forward, working with the sheriff. So I think that today is a time of us looking forward and not backwards. How do we accomplish some of the things that have been that were pointed out in the study? I'm in the process now of reviewing the detailed report that was issued, and we look forward to working with the Department of Justice as we move forward, but more importantly, working with our sheriff to make sure that
Cat Knott Williams said the report is 100 pages. You got the report, Cat?
We abide by what's in the report and anything that may be forthcoming. We share the concerns that were outlined, and we're going to be working jointly, cooperatively to address them. We've already begun working on several things, including our jail blitz plan, which is in force now, making considerable progress there, where we've identified issues in 9 of our 11 housing units, and they should be 9 of 11 rather should be finished and completed by the end of the year. The board has also approved spending up to about $300 million to fully address the facility needs. In our meeting on Wednesday, as a matter of fact, the hope is to name a program or project manager for the team to assess all of the needs that they can identify. So I'm excited about where we are, and believe that we're headed in the right direction. I've said all along that we will have to comply with whatever the Justice Department recommends, and that's what we're in the process of doing now. So thank you all for being with us.
Positive and optimistic, but to be honest, the tone this morning was really damning from the Department of Justice. How serious is this, and were you guys already making plans and making changes before now, or because earlier this morning it seems like no changes have been made?
Well, I view that a little differently. If you look at what was said this morning, the tone and tenor was, none of this is new. This is decade-old problems.
That get me every time when he get ready to say this morning. This morning.
Some that predate. If you look at what was said this morning, the tone and tenor was, none of this is new. This is decade-old problems. Some that predate certainly the chairman and I relationship. But ultimately, it also said, and it was also pointed out very, very poignantly, these are fixable opportunities. And so that's what our plan is as we get ready to move forward, is to be able to fix each one of these opportunities and move forward.
Sheriff, the DOJ said that some of the violence stems from the fact that, or stems from a lack of an adequate classification.
I don't see the DOJ file over there, but y'all seen this yet? I ain't see this yet. They done got booked in now. Got their hair cut and everything. They official. Chain gang.
System that results in really violent inmates being housed with more vulnerable inmates. Do you have any response to that, and is that something you're trying to address?
So we are addressing that. I have said quite loudly that we will not be able to just simply throw staffing at this. We're going to have to embrace technology And we're working with our IT department to do just that. There are classification systems that are a little more robust, and we are presenting those as we get ready to move toward the new budget cycle as well.
I just interviewed Andrea Young with the ACLU, and she believes that a big thing that could help with this, I know y'all have talked about, there's just not enough space for all of the inmates, and a big issue she saw was the fact that a lot of people in
Jerome Street, what up? I see you, family. Appreciate you joining.
there can't afford to bond out, and a lot of people in there might not necessarily be in there because of a concern of violence or a concern of being a danger to society. Do y'all feel that maybe there is a systematic change that needs to be in place for the people who do end up in the jail to begin with? So the filtering system of who is jailed in the Fulton County Jail versus, just everyone in jail, and changing how the jail functions.
Well, we don't have the luxury of predicting who is brought to the facility. You look at what some of the conversations had around misdemeanor versus felonies, et cetera. And so we have less than 200 felonies there. And ultimately, most of those are domestic violence related. And so we don't have the luxury of saying who comes and goes. But what we do with it through the inmate advocacy unit is really pull. I thought I said less than 200 misdemeanors. All right, I want to make sure I'm clear. So they're less than 200.
Not to discount Red Fox. I'm coming home, Elizabeth.
200 misdemeanors. The rest are felons. But those are domestic violence related. And so to that extent, we work with the DA's office, we work with the public defender's office to see whom we can really get out of jail if it is applicable. But going through, and I mentioned our inmate advocacy unit, there are times when we find somebody that has a bond that has dwindled down to less than $1,000, $500, $10, or whatever it may look like, and then we get them out of jail. But we can't just let them go. We try and connect them with their families. And that's why it's important to have such programs. And we've invited the ACLU and a number of different community-based organizations in to really help not only see that, but to see what they have to offer as well.
A push from the sheriff to build a new jail. A lot of the things inside of that report was for structural. They cited some of the inmates going.
You talking about Sheriff Labatt and the councilman? That's Sheriff Labatt. That's the head of the jails out there, the one that didn't pay the security that $1 million that they owe them and tried to steal their employees.
Between the walls and darkened alleyways and things like that. Is there still a push? Are you still pushing for a new jail?
So it's a great question. And one thing that we have to recognize is that we are going to work with the facility we have. The Board of Commissioners has approved, as you heard Chairman say, up to $300 million in renovation.
$300 million in renovations? For why? I mean, of course it might need it, but y'all don't even do what y'all supposed to do with the money y'all got. Why would y'all give them $300 million?
You have to understand that facility was built to warehouse people. And the first thing we have to do is change the culture of how we get people processed through courts, et cetera. Because can you imagine if we had 1,000 less people even than we had today? And so ultimately, we have to make sure we focus on adjudication. Specifically, we have to have a replacement facility.
Sheriff Labatt, in other words, he's the head house Negro. And I mean respectfully.
Some point in the future. And that is at the will of the board and the appetite there. But ultimately, a $300 million renovation is a huge step forward.
Thank you all very much.
And I think Ms. Persfield has, just in the last few minutes requested if anybody has access to what exactly the language was to come up with it now, but in the absence of that, I think that.
So yeah, the younger one was the Sheriff Labatt. The older one was the councilman. That's the one who provide all they My bad. I saw I saw Rainy Rain got kicked out. My bad. That was the bot that did that. Sorry about that, Rainy Rain. But yeah, the older dude was the councilman. That's the one who be giving them all the money. He the one that approved the money to give them all the money.
What you originally requested, Mr. Weinstein, and I don't know if you want, I guess you filed that at some point? Or do you want me to read it into the record?
You can read it into the record.
Okay.
I believe that was an email that was sent to the court back on January 31st.
Your request is that the court instruct the jury the testimony you're about to hear is the witness's opinion based on training and experience, not firsthand knowledge, and that it is for the jury to determine how much weight, if any, to give that opinion. And then after the witness has testified.
Yeah, the commissioner.
In the dual capacity to say, you have heard the testimony of this witness who testified to both facts and opinions. Each of these types of testimony should be given the proper weight. As to the testimony to facts, consider the factors discussed earlier in these instructions. As to the testimony on opinions, you do not have to accept the opinion. In deciding how much weight to give it, you should consider the witness's qualifications and how the witness reached their conclusions, along with other factors discussed in these instructions for weighing the credibility of witnesses. One problem with that is we don't have whatever those prior instructions that whomever this court was would have given. So it would be...
Whomever this court was, you know who the hell this court was. It was Judge Suge Brady Glanville. Judge Suge Knight Brady Glanville.
A little not helpful to give them that instruction.
Your Honor?
Yes.
I'm very close to finding the instruction. I found the state's previous when Detective Belt that.
Okay.
So I'm going to forward that.
Hey, what up, Joanna? We ain't left you. We waited for you. We was waiting at the sit-go. We was waiting at the gas station for you.
Defense counsel in the court, and I think near that time, I'm hoping to see another email of what the court actually
Okay.
But this is the state's previous proposal.
That would be great.
Thank you, Mr. Adkins. I believe that's around January 31st, 2023. So I'm looking.
I mean, in the event we can't find it, I've tried to fashion something that might work. But first of all, I guess we can see whether it can be located.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Quickly. Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, a guilty plea conviction is about to be admitted in this case. A guilty plea conviction of Mr. Kendrick will be admitted for your consideration, and it may be considered by you only against Mr. Kendrick and only as to counts 1 and 63. And let me also take this opportunity to instruct you about the guilty plea convictions of Mr. Stillwell, which had already previously been admitted for your consideration. Those convictions may be considered by you only against Mr. Stillwell and only as to counts 1, 52, and 64. You may not use the conviction of Mr. Kendrick in your consideration or deliberations against Mr. Stillwell. They are not evidence of anything against Mr. Stillwell. And likewise, you may not use the conviction.
I'm currently in AZ.
Of Mr. Stillwell in your consideration or deliberations against Mr. Kendrick. They are not evidence of anything against Mr. Kendrick. Each defendant has a right to have his guilt or innocence determined solely on the basis of the evidence.
Or California. Or Seattle.
Presented against him, not by what may have happened with regard to a criminal prosecution of someone else. And there were also guilty plea convictions of Mr. Nichols admitted previously. For the reasons that I just explained, those convictions would have been admissible only against Mr. Nichols and not any other.
They re-elected who? Glanville? He got back up in there?
Defendant.
Or you talking about Sheriff Labatt and the commissioner?
Because Mr. Nichols is no longer a part of this prosecution, and his convictions would have only been admissible against him, there is no longer a reason for them to be in evidence, and you are not to consider them for any reason in your deliberations and in reaching your verdict. And you also heard testimony about a guilty plea by Mr. Winfrey. Whether Mr. Winfrey pled guilty to something is also not to be considered against any of these defendants. This proposition is true about the guilty plea convictions of any co-defendant. And again, that's because each...
Oh, dang, Cat did drop it. It might have been too long ago for me to catch it. It might have been too long ago. I'm going to scroll up, see if I can catch it. Appreciate that, Cat. Appreciate it, family.
Hi, guys. How is everybody?
Each defendant has the right to have his guilt or innocence determined solely on the basis of the evidence presented against him and not by what may have happened with regard to a criminal prosecution of someone else.
Thank you, Your Honor. And Your Honor, this time the state would like to tender State's Exhibit 438 VV pursuant to 24-9-902.
All right, that is admitted. And you can call your next witness.
Your Honor, the state calls Investigator M. Viverito.
All right. And while that investigator is making her way to the stand, I'm going to give you another instruction. And this is kind of just a reminder instruction. So some of the testimony you're about to hear from this witness will be the witness's opinion as an expert based on training and experience, not her knowledge as a fact witness. But other testimony she's going to give will be so-called fact information gleaned during the witness's investigation. I've instructed this, go ahead. I've instructed the state to the extent possible to try to make it clear when they're asking for or when the witness is giving expert opinion versus fact testimony. And I'll just recall to you the instructions that were previously given before another expert's testimony that was going to testify in a dual capacity about how to evaluate fact testimony, lay opinion testimony, if there is going to be any from this witness, and then expert opinion testimony. All right, thank you. And if you can swear the witness.
Raise your right hand. You swear firm testimony to give the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
State, explain your first and last name. I'm sorry. First initial, last name for the courts, okay?
Sure. It would be M. Viverito, Viverito.
And good morning, Investigator Viverito. How are you?
Good morning. I'm well.
Where do you work?
The City of Atlanta Police Department.
And how long have you worked for the City of Atlanta Police Department?
Since February of 2023.
And what are your current job duties and responsibilities with the City of Atlanta Police Department?
I'm off mute anyway. All right, he got a little bit. I ain't going to read through the whole thing just yet, but let's just look at some of the table of contents. Background, jail population, the JL, the jail is a crisis, our investigation, the jail facilities, main jail, South Annex, North Annex, okay. Civil rights violations identified. Hold on. Can y'all see what I'm saying? There we go. Civil rights violations identified. Protect from harm. The jail exposes incarcerated people to extreme violence and the risk of serious harm. Killings, stabbings, assaults. The jail fails to protect vulnerable populations from violence. He was just talking like it was just nothing. Like it was just, it's all good. Just a couple things. We just got to fix a couple lights and, change some tiles on the ground. The jail leaves incarcerated people unprotected from sexual violence. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. Untamed parts of the jail are jeopardized safety. Poor door security in the jail. And he just admitted to that on the stand the other day, saying, well, they could just put a piece of paper in between the lock and then the door won't lock. Jail does not take appropriate measures to prevent the movement of contraband, excessive force. Officers regularly use force when unnecessary and to create a greater degree than necessary. Staff use tasers too often in an unreasonable, unsafe manner. Police training and accountability systems are inadequate to prevent excessive force. Yo, this is crazy. I gotta read through this, family. I gotta read, not right now, but yeah.
Currently, I hold the rank of investigator, and my position is unique. It's the first of its kind for the Atlanta Police Department. It's a move towards intelligence-led investigations. So my official title is an investigative gang analyst. That is where it's basically a hybrid between a detective and a criminal intelligence analyst. So you're fusing the best parts of both worlds to move investigations forward, especially in the gang world.
And when you said intelligence-led investigation, just tell the jury briefly, what do you mean?
Intelligence-led investigations where you think outside the box. So it's not just, okay, maybe some camera footage, talking to some people. You're using everything at your disposal, whether it be social media accounts, jail calls, phone extractions, wiretaps, everything. You're going to try and get everything you can from the intelligence world and do your research and bring that all in together than just traditional investigative techniques.
Prior to working at Atlanta Police Department, where did you work?
Start from the beginning?
No, just
okay.
Immediately prior.
Prior to the Atlanta Police Department, I was with the Fulton County District Attorney's Office in their gang unit. I was a senior investigator, and then I was ultimately promoted to a lieutenant in the high-profile case unit.
And let's first talk about your time as a senior investigator. Tell the jury about your job duties and responsibilities as a senior investigator in the gang unit.
So I would work with various attorneys in the unit, and I would review cases that were coming up for trial or being prepared for indictment, and I'd take a look at the file, and we'd see if there was anything that was needed to push the case forward. We may go talk to people, we may locate witnesses, we may secure additional search warrants, and just get the case ready and be trial ready for when it ultimately goes to trial or takes a plea.
And as a lieutenant, what did you do when you were with the high-profile unit?
It was things of a similar nature, but it was a little bit more, again, as the title would allude to, high-profile cases, media cases, cases that involve difficult witnesses, in cases that were a little bit more complex.
Now, prior to working at the Fulton County District Attorney's Office, did you work for any other law enforcement agency?
I did.
If you could tell the jury about your career in law enforcement.
Sure. I graduated from the University of Tampa with a bachelor's degree in criminology. I did about a year down in Tampa working at a juvenile facility to get some experience. Then after that, I moved to Atlanta. I started my career with the Georgia Department of Corrections as a felony probation officer. While I was there, my career has exclusively been in the city of Atlanta. While I was there, I started out with a normal caseload. Shortly after that, they started a program what was called the Atlanta Community Impact Program. It was a pilot program driven to reduce recidivism for people returning back to the community from prison. So somebody may get sentenced to a prison sentence that includes probation. So they partnered us with, every day we were partnered with Atlanta police officers. We would ride with them. They would come with us to do home visits. So we'd get a list of returning citizens from prison, and we'd offer wraparound services. So if you need a job, if you need housing, if you need clothing, if you need education, if you need anything you need, we offer it there as like kind of a one-stop shop in an effort to reduce recidivism. So on the other hand, then, if you want to get out of prison and say, you know what, not interested, I'd like to engage in a crime spree, thanks. We have the Atlanta Police Department with us every day to say, okay, we're going to stop that before you get hurt or before anybody else gets hurt. Anybody in the community is
I want you to slow down a little because you are going so fast, and I will ask a different question further. All right. While you were with
BBL burrito.
with probation, did you ever have an opportunity to work with the GBI?
Yes, later on in my career.
Okay, so when did you work with the GBI later on in your career?
Okay, several years later, I was promoted to probation and parole there are different ranks. I was promoted to a criminal investigator. So what's that? You don't have a caseload. You're operating as a
slow down.
Sorry. You're operating as a law enforcement officer within probation and parole.
All right, Kat. Much love. Appreciate you. Catch you in the morning in your chat. Appreciate the love.
Typically, you're assigned to the Special Operations Division, and then you're assigned to either a federal task force. In my case, I was assigned to the GBI Gang Task Force. That's the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. It's a statewide gang task force.
And what did you do when you were part of the GBI Gang Task Force?
Although
Hi
we
guys,
were statewide,
how is everybody?
My experience was here in the city of Atlanta. So I took on
This, you're right. This is her training to qualify her as a.
Y'all go show Mookie some love and sub up. Appreciate that. Appreciate you being here, family.
Expert in game.
Do you want to stipulate to it? To her expertise? I mean, you may.
Well, I'm telling you that tonight, he had a party.
What is it on Instagram?
No, it's a private party. It's a dance. It's a dance. You might want to follow the net.
You went multiple times.
This is not my fault. This is Sneaker's fault.
But you know about it.
You said I know about it?
Tonight, you know about tonight?
Yeah, because I got power last night. I got a power last night.
Haven't we had to talk about him ruining your life, Woody? Haven't we had to talk about him ruining your life? What good has he brought to your life except the money?
That's why he better pay. But I have to take it upon myself to tell y'all this. It's up to me. That's it.
What I'm saying is, he has ruined your life.
Just like that out here.
He's ruined Shannon's life. He's ruined Dee's life, pretty much. Everybody he touches goes to prison, and then he gets new people. Y'all are replaceable. Y'all are disposable. Make no mistake about that. Because once you're in prison, he started pushing.
Y'all show Cat some love. Rolling out. Appreciate you, Cat, if you're still listening.
Wait a minute. Listen to me. Give me.
What was essentially Woody's worst fear has come to fruition. After all the information he's provided, the investigators returned, demanding more, effectively bringing him back to square one, but this time with a possible bounty on his head. With this point in mind, not to mention the stressful and urgent nature of the previous section of this interrogation, Woody folds under the pressure and snitches even more.
I can't just bring him just what he gave me. I need a little bit more. It doesn't.
What time is it? So, if I can be released before 11, 12 o'clock, show you how serious I am. I can be released. Make people see me and one come out of jail together. People to see the jail for whatever. Like I said, I can meet up with them right before they do it. Y'all
That
right.
puts you in too much danger. We can't do that.
No.
We're going to rethink a plan. They're not going to do that. Because if God forbid something happens to you, it's on us.
No, this is different because they trust me. They trust me. So this is what happens.
It's pretty crazy to insist that they trust you over and over again, and instantly follow it up by saying, okay, so this is what's about to happen.
Wait, Savage.
Which savage?
Yes, it's crazy.
21 savage?
No.
44 savage?
Yes.
Okay. They're going to do what?
They want to do it now.
And how do they get this information from him?
Because me, I get it from him. She all over right there when he said it.
But I'm saying, how does he communicate to them?
Now she trying to hide her face. Like, we don't know. Well, she probably look way different now. But we see your face. You don't look that different. And ain't nobody care about your face. All we going to do is laugh at you. Ain't nobody looking for you. They act like they hiding like, well, I don't know. You know, it is a crazy game out there. So, never mind. But still, we already see you.
So he FaceTimes Swag, FaceTime Savage?
No. We was in there eating and he FaceTime.
Who FaceTime?
Dog FaceTime.
Quite?
While we had it. And he was like, bitch got my heart. Quit, man. I told him, man. You right now broke. You ain't got no money in your pocket. But then they call your phone, tell you jump. You gonna jump. This nigga put you in the position right now. I walked in there and came back. He on the phone. And he really jumped. Head first.
To summarize what has just happened, Woody revealed that Doug FaceTimed two YSL members, Quay and 44 Savage, instructing them to kill Kelvin at the Diamonds Club sometime between 11 to 12 p.m. on October 27th, 2021. The two were to receive an undisclosed amount of money for the act. Draw whatever conclusions about these men's characters that you want from this, including Woody's.
I had to pay their food. They didn't have any pocket. Like I told him, I'm gonna sit man, she gonna beat up all day. It's on y'all. But that's good.
How many times are you gonna keep like getting screaming by and just dodging bullets? You gotta stop at some point.
Man, listen, God. I go around to it. I ain't gonna shoot. I tell you, I said, they're gonna get you.
You said what?
I told you they're gonna get you.
Who, Doug?
Yeah, I told you.
Like the police?
Yeah, I said, they're gonna get you. I said, all that shit you doing, they're gonna get you.
What do you think?
She like, I know.
You don't care?
No, you don't. He ready. He let us, I know. I told her, they're gonna get you. I said, you put all this shit in there, you don't fuck by the cop, change this right here, they don't like it. They're gonna get you. They're gonna watch you for 5, 6, 7, 8 years.
Maybe $2 million for a lawyer, probably killing all that.
I told her that. They're gonna watch you. As long as they gonna watch you, they're gonna get you. You know, they told me. Shit, I remember trying to show in Florida. Got them bitches lined up. I mean, somebody called and said the favor outside, they lined up. I know. You know what I mean? Just like, well, make sure you don't take me with you.
Woody provides a valid point in that young Doug is basically on a warpath. As Woody said, he is reckless in his lyrics and his communication, and he does not care if he gets caught. He knows it's going to happen, and he just doesn't care. The YSL ship is clearly sinking because the captain is asleep at the wheel. Is Woody wrong for abandoning ship, or should he have stayed and gone down with his comrades?
Well, no, I think you like being around him, you like what comes with it, but you know.
I don't, the thing I was willing to do to him, and for how he did me, I would never in my life be cool with him.
Woody, all you can do is do better. That's it. All you can do is smile and do better.
I'm trying. I can say this. If you can show me that you can help me out, nothing else. I'm not gonna give you no clue what I'm talking about. No nothing, but I can give you some very helpful. I can tell you something very helpful. I can give you some very helpful information.
What do you mean, tell me where something?
I don't get what that means. I'm not saying nothing because I'm not gonna let y'all keep talking me to give me y'all information and y'all gonna throw me in jail and leave me in there. So.
You talk about me? No one. I see you, family. I think. What you type? I see you. Y'all sub up to no one too. I saw you drop your link. I see you, family.
I gave you the information. Y'all wanna say your life?
Now, okay, so say you have to go tonight, and I come back with you with people that might get on and stuff. I want you to go down my conversation.
What's the name coming to the jail?
Yeah, we're gonna get you out of jail. I would talk in jail.
People at the jail, the police in the jail, the police know. I've been in the jail and I've heard the guards saying things about some people. Come and get me from the jail, though.
So no, we got to do it.
I don't watch the guards. The guards at the jail talk.
So how am I supposed to get this information to you? I can't talk to you in jail. I take you out of
I
jail.
don't say you like that shit right there should have shown me that. If they don't help me get out of jail right there,
What I'm saying is,
there's nothing they're gonna help me.
The investigator has now convinced Woody that he should provide more information about Doug, but they have yet to come to an agreement on where they can meet up without endangering his life. A sheriff for Fulton County is about to enter the room with the intention of easing Woody's fears of how they will contact him in jail, but also to keep the investigation within the reins of the facts at hand rather than Woody's future and self-improvement.
I'm not trying to go my shit. I'm not trying to be worried about how people look at me or what people think about me.
It's been a while. Remember me?
he's been very good today.
Good. So what's going on with the stuff at jail?
He's afraid that I said if we want to come speak to him again. Kevin works for the sheriff's office.
Did she say he's been very good today?
So if there's an issue with the jail, that's going to get killed right away. He's saying he's afraid that if we ever took him out to speak to him again or came to talk to him in the jail, that the guards are going to start putting words out that we came and got him.
No, dirty guys? The dirty folks that are over there? Where are they?
I'm talking about the jail. I'm telling you. I know people that this nigga know. They're in the jail. You know what I mean? These people ain't going. Every time I go to jail, them also watch me. They watch me like a goddamn hoe.
So, no. This is what I'll say. I'll kind of reassure you a little bit. They don't know me down there. Nobody knows who I am down there. And there's a reason for that. I'm still doing the same shit I did here, over there. I answer to one person over at that jail, that's the colonel, because he used to work for APD. Okay? I don't go through their normal chain of command. You can say I'm special. I will find a way. I will present it to you. We'll find, if it's a jail call or something, we present it to you like that. You can say yes or no. I'm not going to put you in that situation, though. And I know you're a smart dude. I know you know what's going on. And that's kind of what bothers me on this whole thing, is it seems like you're still doing the stuff. Dude, I've been doing this stuff for, I've been here for 11 years, and I've known you since day one.
Y'all think y'all trying to say the same shit, but man,
It's not.
I'm gonna risk my life giving y'all this information because I know for 100% sure only 4 people know about this information. This one person,
But we're not going to put you out there like that. We know how to do stuff and not put you out there like that.
Everything goes under an evidentiary seal. Okay? A lot of people don't know how to do that. With the stuff that you're giving us, when it's verified, okay? We put it under evidentiary.
Everything goes under evidentiary seal, and then they lose it.
Seal. Nobody has access to that but the judge themselves.
So that was a fucking lie.
Okay? Did you know about that stuff? Okay.
In all fairness to the investigators, this tape was released to only 28 defendants in the case. It never should have been seen by the public to begin with. It was actually leaked by one of 28 people. This interrogation has gone on for a total of 2.5 hours. The investigator from the district attorney's office had been putting pressure on Woody, trying to wear him down. Although successful, she understandably has worn herself down. The sheriff comes in fully refreshed and ready to lay down the pressure on Woody heavily, completely changing the tone of the interrogation. In the meantime, the other investigator has spent most of the time staying quiet and looking down at her phone, allowing her to rest while Woody has been continuously pressured.
Why go around? I know what I've done. So I don't want to get around because of guilt. That's why I don't get around. I'd be afraid. I can't look at this nigga in the eye because I feel this nigga know. That's why I don't go around. I don't want to tell y'all that. That's why I can't sleep at night. Because I know him. I know what I don't say.
That's Big Burrito. That's the one that's on the stand right now. That's investigator Big Burrito. I thought that she... Well, never mind.
I know the information that I gave. Y'all see him play like this shit ain't available. All y'all want. I know just like y'all know.
Dude, we ain't saying the shit you're giving us ain't valuable. We are not saying that by any means. If there were 2 other people sitting in front of you right now, you could definitely say that to them. But you personally know her and I.
But it's a different jail. It's, man, I hate it, man. You know what I mean?
Well, I hate it too, but you know what? You know how I stay out of there? I don't do stupid shit.
But I gave you the information. You know what I mean?
DJ Black Charm, what's good, family? I see you.
I got you. I tell you, plenty more people that's on to him though. But you know what I mean? That y'all don't even know. My whole thing is, man, if I have this in jail, I just want
Let me talk to her outside real quick about something real fast. I'm gonna come right back in. Okay. We're gonna come back in a minute. Okay. So just give us a minute. I gotta talk with something.
Yeah, I should not hear research.
Yeah. So let me talk.
That's how I say.
I don't know.
It looks like a snake emoji, and I don't know if you guys can.
They should call her investigator emoji. Investigator burrito emoji.
See, it has to be like the iPhone emoji.
And then in this phone, when it says deleted, do you know what that means?
I would assume that I don't see it on my copy where it says deleted.
Where it says deleted in the left-hand column?
Oh, okay, there you go. So yeah, that would be, I would assume that means that contact was deleted or removed from the.
So you the lead investigator. This is your file. This is your stuff. But you didn't know where the word deleted was?
Device at some point, but still stored in the memory of the device somewhere.
Okay. And where it has other, what is in the other category?
That would be the number associated with that contact.
All right. And then for the created category, what's the created category?
That's going to be the date that the contact was added to the phone. So say you meet somebody, you add their contact to your phone, you put them in your address book, that's going to be that date.
Okay. And then if it was modified, what does that mean?
Modified could be you change their name, you add a last name, you delete the contact, or you modify the number in any way.
All right.
Appreciate you, Jerome Street.
And what was the phone number associated with this contact in the phone?
213-910-1192.
Now I'm going to also show you 227 VV2D.
Okay.
Flash of the gods. I'm fucking with it. I rock with it.
First, I want to start with the other. What is the phone number associated with this contact?
213-910-1192.
And is that the same phone number from 227 VV2C?
It is.
Bruh. And when you look at the name, what is in the name section?
So here, it's going to appear as almost like a bug type emoji, but I had a chance to review the physical device. It is a spider emoji. That's just how it translates to, I don't know if you have friends, if you have an iPhone, your friend is the Android, sometimes the emojis don't translate correctly. When you extract the phone, that's what happens here. So when you look at the physical device, it's going to be a spider.
And then what was the created and modified date on 227 VV2?
March 1st of 2019 is created and modified November 22nd of 2020.
And through your investigation, did you associate this contact with an individual?
I did.
And who was that?
Jeffrey Williams.
All right. Now I'm going to publish 227 VV2A.
Okay.
And I want to go to slide 2. What's being depicted in slide 2? And if we can zoom in, because I know it's pretty tiny.
The Diamond Club, which, from my experience with other investigations, is a YFN stronghold.
And if you need to, you can use the screen to help point out as well.
Yeah, so you'll see it's just he's saying he has a mixtape release, and this is at the Diamond Club on Northside Drive.
Now looking at slide 3.
Okay.
Atlanta number.
He is going to send another flyer for a YFN Lucci appearance or performance. And Mr. Williams responds, "Where's that at?" Mr. Huey tells him, "Claremont."
BBL thick burrito.
Mr. Williams responds and says, "Slatty handle, stay very low." And Mr. Huey says, "Slat, for sure, I've been out the way."
And looking at the next slide, is this a copy of that flyer?
Yes, it is.
And when is the date of the appearance that Mr. Bennett is advertising?
September 6th.
Continue.
Mr. Huey tells Mr. Williams, I appreciate you for everything, my brother. Never about money with me. I'm built on loyalty. He sends the 100 emoji, which kind of means like, I'm for real about it. Mr. Williams says, slat. Handle that. I got you. Mr. Huey responds, slat.
Name.
Fortray_TV World.
And I want to zoom into his face. Do you see any tattoos?
Hold on. Joanna just pointed out something. Woody did have on the pink beanie, huh? We forgot all about that. Woody had the pink beanie. Oh, shit.
What's up with him? Is he cool?
Okay. And then what was his next message to Mr. Williams' phone?
He's inquiring if the gentleman is cool. It looks because he says he posted that racial expletive, Bloody J.
And are you familiar with that name or individual, Bloody J?
Yes.
Okay. And are you aware if he's associated with any gang?
Yes.
What gang is that?
He's associated with the YFN, or Atlanta Blood Gang, criminal street gangs.
And do you know Bloody J's given name?
Yes, it's Justin Ushery. Expletive, he hit me back laughing and shit. Them, racial expletive, no, I ain't play no part in that slime.
And then is there a response
Says, take that shit back.
Did you learn of the arrest of Rayshawn Bennett?
I did.
Okay. And when he was arrested, where was he housed?
At the Fulton County Jail.
And while he was in the Fulton County Jail, did you learn of a stabbing of Mr. Lucci in February of 2022?
I did.
Right. How did you become aware of that incident?
I believe one of the investigators from the Fulton County Jail had mentioned it to me.
Nah, it was pink. Do I gotta go back? Do I gotta run it back?
And once you learned about the incident, what, if anything, did you do?
Once I learned about the incident, I inquired about who the suspect was, and I found out that it was a Mr. Jaden Myrick.
When you found out it was Jaden Myrick, what did you do at that point?
I was familiar with Mr. Myrick, so I began to listen to his jail phone calls and look at his jail. In the jail, I don't know if they still do, they used to have tablets they could rent, and they could text friends and family members through the system with the tablets. So I began to review his text messages as well.
And you said you were familiar with Mr. Myrick. How were you familiar with him?
His involvement in the case that we had at the office.
Okay. And we say the office, talking about the Fulton
County District Attorney's Office.
And in your understanding of who Mr. Myrick was, did you know if he was associated with any gang?
I knew he was a blood gang member that was associated with YSL.
Now, you said that you started looking at their tablets. Were you able to get the contents of that tablet?
No.
The text messages of the tablet?
Well, when you log into the system, you can review their text messages. So I was able to review some of the text messages from that relevant time period.
And have you had the opportunity to review some of those text messages in preparation for your testimony today?
I have.
Right. Remember in that video we played with Gunna, he was talking about it too. It ain't that, it's like that, not salmon, but one of them fuchsia, one of them weird name colors.
And let me ask you this. When you first learned that Jaden Myrick was the person...
Mookie said that was about to be the new color, but all this happened.
Move for time.
Who stabbed him, did you know if there was a plan to stab Lucy? Did you know anything about what led up to the actual stabbing?
I did not, which is what led me to review his phone calls and text messages because I was trying to see what had happened.
This time the state would like to admit Stacey there been 5.
What had happened was
TT into evidence.
There were context clues from the text messages on a text message from February 6th. She says, your folks, this message is from your folks, 706, which is an area code that I know. So I think, okay, maybe that's a clue. Maybe that's the person.
So this is from your folks 706. They was like, yep, we got him. That's King Slime. That's Young Thugs. That's Young Thug. Your folks 706.
Person has a 706 area code. Okay.
And what did the text say?
It does. So Miss Ellison is conveying the message from the 706 area code to Mr. Myrick. And she says, and the person is telling her to tell him, tell Lil Bro, I talked to the biggest, just now waiting on the news. He thinks we're flexing. I talked to the biggest. He thinks we're playing because the racial expletive in the same house and it ain't handled. I done put the food on the table. Make me proud. My name is on the line on this one, so don't make me look bad.
And what was the date and time of that message?
February 9th, 2020 at 11:32 p.m.
Is it 2020?
Cross about to be fire on that. And then next up is the state's case, right? They get to present, the defense case. They get to present their case, right?
I'm sorry, 2022.
Okay. And in reading that, did you have an understanding of what they were even talking about?
A basic understanding, yes.
What was your understanding of it?
That they were waiting for confirmation that the act had happened, saying that we think we're flexing. He thinks we're trying to get one over on them. And they think that they were kidding because I guess they'd been housed together for a little while and nothing had happened up until that point. He tells them he put the food on the table, like he gave him the opportunity and make me proud.
And once you saw that message, how did you go about determining if 706 was a phone number or what 706 was?
I reviewed Mr. Myrick's jail calls. You can pull jail calls by the inmate themselves. And I looked at his jail calls to see if there are any phone numbers that he had called with a 706 area code.
And were there any phone numbers he had called with a 706 area code?
Yes, there was one.
Now, once you saw the phone number that he had called, what, if anything, did you do about the phone number?
I requested the records for the phone number. I learned that it was a Verizon phone number. When you have Verizon, they retain what is called text message data. As long as it's not an iPhone, if you have an iPhone, as long as it's not iMessage and it's Android to Android or iPhone to Android, for 7 days they will retain the contents of those text messages. So I secured a search warrant and requested the call records as well as the text message content for that phone number from Verizon.
And were you able to get that information?
I was.
And once you received the information, what, if anything, did you do?
I tried to, it just comes in as a big spreadsheet. So I went through and sorted and identified the calls. The texts and read through them.
Showing you what's been marked as Exhibit 1 TTB. Do you recognize Exhibit 1 TTB?
I do.
And how do you recognize Exhibit 1 TTB?
This is the color-coded version of the spreadsheet that I had made.
It was. All right. The 706 number to Mr. Robinson. Okay. And thank you for clarifying that for me. The 706 number, let me ask you this. Did you ever identify that?
All right, my bad, family. That was me trying to get this picture up. I want y'all to see Stacy Sibbett, trying to get this Stacy Sibbett up.
Was incarcerated in prison. He was. All right. Now, looking at the first message, what is the date and time coded language? What do you mean?
I thought he was ready to kill him. I was ready to attack him. I was at his contraband phone gets.
Man, I can't do nothing while this thing moving.
The calls were getting intercepted. The phones.
My bad, family. My bad. It's coming right back up. It's just trying to catch the frames. Fuck.
It's an attempt to conceal the activity to the person that made it.
So they're not really trying to get an actual signature autograph for the guy?
No, I'm not trying to get autograph.
Okay. Now, after that conversation, is there some Ellison's phone and Mr. Adams' phone? Yes. Okay. When does that conversation begin and take the jury through that set of conversation?
It begins on the 7th, and they're talking about trying to put Mr. Myrick in communication with Mr. Adams down in the prison system. They're talking.
And
Named Antonio Sledge.
And what is depicted on the post that he posted?
Again, that will be Christian McMillan and Darius Ford.
Going to go to Mr. Garlington.
It is.
All right. Next 452 BB. Are you familiar with the Instagram account og.bool_?
Yes.
How are you familiar with that Instagram account?
That's the social media account associated with Shannon Stillwell.
And is this a post that was posted on that account?
It was.
And what does it say?
Just rest, Mac. I got you, man.
And are there emojis?
There are.
What are the emojis?
A crying face, a broken heart, a bandaged heart, and the devil emoji.
All right. Next.
Stillwell with Mr. Ford.
Okay. And is there an emoji on that post as well?
Yes, the bandaged heart and said crying emoji.
All right. And then let's from the account belongs to Mr. Jackson.
Yes.
Okay. And what does the post say?
I can hear Mac now still playing Goddamn Big. We let them suckers get his shit. Where the fuck Boo at? I'm sorry. That's what TF means, in case y'all didn't know. Boo at, and then it says, damn Mac, I miss you. I miss your ass preaching when I be on the bullshit. And Boo would be a reference to Quentin Porter.
Let me ask you this. Hold on. Excuse me. Do you recognize those pictures?
I do.
How do you recognize them?
Two are going to be from like fake accounts that were made to troll people in the wake of their death, and one is from an individual that I know from working in Atlanta.
And do those appear to be fair and accurate depictions of images that you grabbed, again, in March of 2022?
Yes.
Your Honor, this time the state would like to admit 456. This exhibit, is this one of the fake Instagram accounts that you were referencing?
That's one of the ones that we couldn't identify who it belonged to, but it was very, very vocal about the disrespect. New op pack just came in.
And you know, sitting here today, what day you screenshotted this particular post?
It would have been in the days immediately after the death of Mr. McMillan and Mr. Ford.
Okay. And we're looking at a document with the screen grabs, help refresh your memory as to the dates of.
All right, I got it. I had to refresh it. What you mean, Joanna? What you mean you can't send me cash apps? I can receive cash apps. That ain't true. I know you a lie. I know you fucking lying.
When you captured this post.
It would. The capture time reads 3 hours ago, so if I can refer to the sheet just to get the posting time.
Yes.
It would post at 11:20 p.m. that day, following the murders, so it means that it was captured at 11:20 p.m., which means 8:20 p.m. it was posted.
Go to the next exhibit. And while that's pulling up, have you ever heard of the term smoking and
There we go, there we go, there we go. Appreciate you, Joanna. Y'all show Joanna some love. It went through. Appreciate it. Y'all drop some slime umbrellas for Joanna with the Cash App. Appreciate the love, family. We almost up out of here. We got about 25, 30 more minutes. Oh, no, I skipped some. Oh, well, I don't want to see too much of that. We could play something else extra if y'all want, because I'll skip some. But we got about 25 more left for this video. Let me know what y'all want to see at the end. We could play some.
Hot pack.
I have.
Okay. What is your understanding when you've heard that terminology?
An op pack is a play on words, like when you talk about a pack of loud or like marijuana or drugs. So now when they come in and they'll say, we're smoking on this person that's dead. It's just another way of disrespecting the opposition when they get killed. So saying a new op pack just came in, they're smoking on these people. It's very, very common among gang language, especially when there's a murder that takes place.
And now looking at 462 VB, Joey _ Hurst 24, was that an actual page or was that a trolling page?
That was a page that was trolling pretty.
Sustained.
Okay. Were you familiar with that page?
I was not.
Okay. Were you familiar with anyone being associated with that page?
I was not.
Sitting here, do you recall what the picture that's in the caption, what that said?
With the picture itself? Or
No, not
the profile picture.
The profile picture.
I can't see. It seems like a drawing or of some sort.
And again, was this an example of some of the inflammatory posts that you were seeing?
It's a fool. Well, I'm like, damn, boy.
They don't want on this.
I don't know. See, I think he the one that got shot in the head. I don't. Like everybody been said he had died first. Like that's what they were saying at first. They were just like, bro was in critical condition for a minute.
I heard he got hit in the head.
Yeah, but Roger had and goddamn told me what happened to him. He had them DM me like, man, bro just died too. So we just turn on the say it came from Summerhill, but Quay just said they got into it with when they was at Chit Chat, they got into it with them henchmen niggas. Man, I think them niggas look all I run them folk, man. You know, on for me going back and forth, they gonna answer.
Oh yeah, I heard it like hits me shit.
Yeah, Quay say when B Slime just had the show, on for B Slime them got down, rushed to the car to get the file, some shit they hadn't got into it, nigga.
Yeah, that's crazy right now.
My cousin just called him, so he know what he told him to pull up. He got down, he know what happened.
Yeah.
Yo,
what the hell you got going on?
Shit, you got up.
Anybody asked, we went and looked like soon in the midnight. Anybody just said we went and looked for that motherfucker. We couldn't find it.
Okay.
Don't tell nobody.
Yeah, I know. Well, where you at?
Leaving the room.
Leaving the room.
Yeah.
Huh? What you finna do?
Shit, same old shit. Shit.
I'm saying, what you at?
Someone told me he gonna come pick me up. Shit, that was on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Next time I meet him and Rodlow, I said, man, Rodlow ain't getting no coat, nigga.
Yeah.
I tried that shit yesterday with a nigga on goddamn no.
Yeah.
Is that Mr. Garlington on the call?
Yes.
Okay. And
ain't got a chance to animate her yet, but that's Stacy Sibbett. If you turn her sideways, she only 2D. It looked 3D from here, but she actually only 2D. It's the new 2D. But I ain't made her yet. She working her way in. Y'all shout out to Stacy Sibbett.
Did you recognize the voice of who he is speaking to?
That would be Mr. Silla.
Right.
Yeah, it's because it disconnected, but it's back. Oh.
And in that call, the Mr. Stillwell said, don't tell anyone we went to go looking?
Yes.
Okay. Or we went to go looking, don't tell anyone?
It sounds like that's kind of hard to hear, but that's what it appears to sound like.
Okay. And they mentioned on that call, did you hear the reference to Big Nick?
I did.
All right. And are you familiar with that name?
I am.
Is that the same Big Nick, to your understanding, if Mr. Garlington and Mr. Stillwell are talking, do you know which Big Nick they could be referencing?
They would be referencing Nicholas Carter.
Okay. How are you familiar with Nicholas Carter?
I know Nicholas Carter to be an older member of the gang associated with 2830 Waters Road. YSL.
And you said an older member of the gang?
Correct.
Which gang?
YSL. I remember him being arrested at that location during a narcotic search warrant back in 2014.
He is different from Fat Nick, who we just talked about earlier, also who calls himself Big Nick, who's with YFN.
Correct.
All right.
Yeah, for real now, right? Bro, D, is you sad about Matt Payne for real?
Man, on DB on sad here, bro.
I know.
That's why they had to come drink, bro.
That's why I said I ain't called you. Dad said, "G okay?" I said, "I text. I ain't want to call him." He said, "Yeah, he ain't answer. I called him."
Yeah, that fucked up. That shit got me hurt, bro. I fucked with bro.
Yeah, that shit put me on. So I know dude sad about it.
Yes.
And did you capture those posts?
Yes.
And have you had an opportunity to view those posts in preparation for your trial?
Yes.
I mean, for your trial. For this trial. Was that caption on the original post by the account associated with Mr. Drinks?
Correct.
All right. And then when it's reposted, do you see some other emojis?
I do.
What are the other emojis?
There are 2 shell emojis, the zipper over the mouth emoji, and then you're going to have a black heart.
Okay. And those emojis, is that from the original post, or is that from what Mr. Kelvin Watts posted when that account posted? And can you tell?
So it's not from the original post, and you can tell because it's outside the boundary of the original post. It's like kind of overlaid on top of it.
And were those emojis of any significance to you as a gang investigator?
After March 11th, yes.
Why was it significant to you after March 11th?
Because Mr. Walters and Mr. Watts had been very vocal about the deaths of Mr. McMillan and Mr. Ford. So the 2 shells and the zipper emoji were sort of telling.
Okay. And once you saw, and that's Mr. Kelvin Watts posting that?
Correct.
All right. After seeing this post, and when did you...
They all be laughing, and that do be irritating, especially when Love laugh. but yep, all of them be laughing, and Hilton too. What up? I'm a whole vibe. I see you, family. Appreciate you being here.
Capture this post?
I believe it was March 12th around 7 a.m., 7:30 a.m.
Okay.
And it had been posted 6 hours prior, so 1 a.m. on March 12th was when it would have been posted.
All right. Now, I want to play for you some additional wiretap calls, but let me ask you this. So let's fast forward to March 14th, 2022.
So, hey, all right, anybody need a break? No, y'all are soldiering on. All right, thank you.
I'm listening to these calls. At that time, were you aware of the murder of Mr. Chanel Drinks?
No.
So you listened to the call before you were aware of Mr. Drinks' murder?
I just don't know what call you're referring. I don't know.
On March 4th, the calls that on the wiretap that were on March 14th, 2022, around 9:45 p.m.
I could have, because like I said, I do want to review all the calls, but sometimes we're a little behind on that. So you have monitors in there constantly, and then I'll go back on the back end and review and check them. I can't tell you. I don't believe I listened to them originally, but I did go back and review.
After learning of the death of Mr. Drinks, did those calls become of more note to you after learning about Mr. Drinks' murder, specifically the calls around 9:45 p.m. on March 14, 2022?
Yes.
Okay. And why did it become of note to you at that point?
Because those would have been the calls at or around the time the murder was taking place.
And have you had an opportunity to listen to those calls in preparation for your testimony today?
I have.
Hey, what is y'all for though? Nah, call me on video, hurry up. Call me on video. Call me.
Now, did you hear what occurred in that call?
Yes.
What did you hear on the phone call?
Basically telling someone to hurry up and call me on FaceTime.
And as a gang investigator, is FaceTime significant? As
It
a gang
is.
investigator? Why is that significant as a gang investigator?
Because it's a common belief amongst people engaged in criminal activity that
Sustained.
Have you heard, in your experiences, do you have knowledge of FaceTime?
I do.
And whether or not FaceTime calls are recorded? On telephone laws, are FaceTime calls recorded if you get CDR records, call detail records?
If you pull call detail records, you will not see FaceTime communication.
And in your experience in doing gang investigations, have you heard or seen gang members often want to speak on FaceTime rather than talking on the actual phone where their call details can be recorded?
Often through my investigations, you will see that once criminal activity begins to be discussed, they will prefer to switch to FaceTime because FaceTime cannot be intercepted through a wiretap.
And at about 9:59, is that when this call takes place, when someone says,
Pink Slime, what's up? I see you. Appreciate you joining, family.
hurry up, get on FaceTime?
Correct.
Are you aware of the time in which the surveillance video that Detective Hogan showed you? What time Mr. Jackson's vehicle was at the BP gas station?
It should be right at 9:59 p.m. Right, it should be at the gas pumps or parked outside of the store at the location.
And from the viewing of the surveillance video, were you familiar with both the car associated with Mr. Stillwell as well as the car associated with Mr. Parmavius Nichols at the gas station around that time?
I did not know who I didn't know who the car was associated with, the other car was associated with at that time.
At some point, did you learn about who that other vehicle was associated with?
Yes.
To any of his jail calls?
I did.
Okay. And while listening to his jail call, did you ever learn if he had a cell phone?
Yes.
And did you learn where the cell phone, when I say where, the house, where that cell phone was located? Where did you retrieve the phone from?
I ultimately retrieved the phone from his grandmother's home.
Okay. And once you got the phone, were you able to did you get a search warrant to search the phone?
Yes.
Okay. And were you able to go through the contents of that phone?
Yes.
All right. Of course, indulgence for a moment. We're ready to publish the March 16th. All right.
Hey, ain't like no little bad cut. Oh no, what the heck? That they in the front. Man, they gotta goddamn get to their back.
What up, fam? Appreciate y'all being here. We almost up out of here. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, tap in, share with a friend. What y'all want to see? Ex parte cartoon part 1, 2, or 3? Part 3 is the one with.
I believe you speak with Mr. Stillwell.
And do you know what time the police?
Part 3 is the one with Cat and lead attorney at the beginning and AV7. Part 2 is one where it was part 2, and part 1 is the first one.
Responded to 2831's Road or March 16, 2022.
I believe it was shortly after midnight.
And was this call at approximately 12:22 a.m.?
Yes.
Next, I want to play for you March 16th at 4:33 a.m.
My bad for the blank space. I didn't know I didn't clip that up out of there. Appreciate y'all being here. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, tap in, share with a friend.
Oh,
Good, huh?
hello?
You good?
Yeah. What is it?
What the hell you mean, nigga?
Oh, I ain't even say, I ain't say no number.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. For sure.
Where the hell you at? You gone?
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna drop my low.
10 miles, boy, it's all love, boy. I couldn't wait, boy. I gotta go home.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he just ran in the store real quick.
Yeah, so it was all love, yeah. I ain't waiting, boy. I gotta go, boy. That shit just shook the fuck out of me.
Man, wet, man. When I seen you, I just...
Man, what? Man, that whole just, man, boy, listen, boy. I just said to myself, boy, man, let me out that car. I'm gonna go in.
Now you heard what I said. Man, Miss V, are you Miss V?
I am.
Is that what Mr. Garlington and Mr. Silva call you?
Yes.
In, boy, and I ain't coming back outside, boy. I don't care if I have no run or nothing, boy. Them motherfuckers ain't moving.
Hey, boy, I said the same shit, boy. Somebody really think I'm like, yeah, man.
What's so crazy, bro? I was just being cheap. I can't was being cheap. My whole keep saying, let's get a room like that. Man, I'm not even paying no room. Man, listen, boy. I just said, damn, boy. They can send nigga right street with their money like that. My nigga gonna spend this shit on the room, man.
Man, what? I'm
Fuck
so
up.
hey, that's on you,
I'm gonna skip down some since y'all say I'm behind on the chats. Appreciate y'all, family. I'm gonna skip down a little bit.
I got my last $2,000. I got to get lawyered in. I'm like, man. I'm gonna be like, damn.
You won't believe, boy. All the sticks and the guns was in the gray car.
For real?
Man, oh God, boy. And the sticks and shit in the attic.
He sound like he know he was on the wire. Yeah, the sticks and the guns. Who say the sticks and the guns?
Shit, boy. That was God, boy.
Yeah, what?
That was God. Yeah. They all know he had to get up out of there, boy. Good. What, that way? Yeah. There you go. You know what I mean, though?
Yeah, nah, man. You know how fire it go.
Oh, yeah. Hope got down. Blow it up.
She what?
She blowed it up, boy.
I ain't man. She blew my shit up.
You saying Shannon okay, bro? Hold on, give me two.
All right.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
You walk in, these girls think, I'm like, I know for a fact.
Man, what? You know who you coming to then?
You say all this same shit, though. She like, she like, who house is it? I'm like, man, I don't know. I'm telling you, my first time here.
Miss Mama, what up, family? I see you. We wrapping it up, but appreciate you being here. Probably about 20 more minutes, maybe less. About 15 more minutes. Depending on which video we play.
Man, listen, bro. I'm thinking, you know what I kept saying? I said, boy, I know DML, them smart. I know they saw them both got up and took her to the front. I said, I know they hit that back cut.
You wouldn't believe I'm trying to find out who's back cut. That's why I called you.
Man, you talking about, well, I would have made one straight through the
You
motherfucker.
would?
Back there, boy. I tell you, I would have taken back there.
Yeah, we only got caught, so he told me, once they legs showing, he think somebody in the house dead, bro.
Man, they tell me, they like, so you telling me nobody in the house? I'm like, hell, man, hey, listen, man, I just pulled up. I said, I sat for 3 minutes, top. Them motherfuckers go popping. So shit. Oh, God, boy, I sat outside 3 minutes, popping. Them motherfuckers went to popping, so shit. I went to got down, ducking and running. That's my soul. Why you
You wet?
That's my so why you ain't got down? So why you ain't got down come out when we said Atlanta police? I'm like, shit, I don't trust Atlanta police. I'm thinking these folks. I'm thinking these folks trying to get her to come out. So I stayed in.
Yeah.
Oh God, they're like, yeah. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, look, bro, y'all question me like I'm a suspect. I'm a victim. They're like, yeah, you right. They're like, but let's do what we gotta do. We're gonna get back with you. If everything come out clean, then we'll let y'all go. Like, say less. I'm in the car sleep.
All right, Joanna, I'm caught up, and I want to post one of your messages anyway to show love for the Cash App, so say what you want to say, and I got you. Appreciate y'all being here, family.
I can't wait. When they tell me that, I kick back. Don't got down, go at.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Now, did you hear when either Mr. Garlington or Mr. Stillwell mentioned something or an individual named Elmo?
Yes.
Are you familiar with that nickname at all?
I'm not.
Did you hear when either Mr. Stillwell or Mr. Garlington said, "I'm on drill time"?
Yes.
Have you heard that term, drill time, before?
Yes.
How have you heard that terminology?
Like you're ready to go to war, basically.
Did you hear either Mr. Stillwell or Mr. Garlington talk about the camera footage inside of the home?
Briefly, yes.
And again, when you went on March 17, 2022, was there any camera footage found inside of the house?
Bruh. No, based on that call, I included it in my items to be searched for in my search warrant, but it had been removed.
Bruh. And was it this call that you used the search warrant for you to go into the home on March 17, 2022?
Yes.
You know, I just realized I do have horns. I forgot about that.
Police officers on scene.
Yes.
And did you hear one of them say that they told the police that they didn't even know McMahon? They had no idea who that was.
Yes.
And based on the social media posts that you observed, would that be not a true statement that neither Mr. Garlington nor Mr. Stillwell, they knew who Mr. McMillan was? Would that be fair to say?
Correct. They knew them.
Now,
At pawn shop in Clayton County and was able to obtain the receipt for those firearms.
and who was the purchaser of that at that time?
Mr. Stillwell's ex-girlfriend, Taisha Alexander, or current girlfriend.
Do the front right passenger side, lady. I had to see if I could find one of the intros. I don't got it by itself, but I got it on one of the intros. I'll check and see if I could grab it.
Stop over there.
I know you're right. I'm surprised. I don't know why I ain't made it yet. I should have been made that already.
So y'all have a good weekend. Remember not to let anybody talk to you about.
Nigga said, all right, cool. Let me get the y'all. Took half of his sandwich. The nigga said, you's a slime nigga. That's how slime got invented. Are your niggas ready? Are your niggas ready?
That would be the right front, the right left, excuse me, the right left side. Front.
Okay, all right. Looking for this.
Okay.
So they're introducing as part of what they, as if I understand it, given the fact.
And that is the person that you just referred to as Ola Player.
Yes.
Also goes by the name King Slime?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
Tom, it's Chief Justice Hornsby.
Judge Hornsby? Well, good morning to you, sir. You want what? $500 for your campaign from each member of the firm? Well, now, you know, Judge, we do have a case pending in your court. It doesn't matter. Yes, sir. I'll get the money over to you right away, sir.
We've got an old order from Judge Glanville. I'm
Okay.
assuming,
He's still our chief judge, and it probably, does it just say through this trial? Ms. Love.
So
Seems inappropriate to come in.
right now, yes, right. There's obviously going to be discussion about what he's given and all of that, but right now, I agree. I don't have any objection
All right.
to that.
Thank you.
We might have got a new judge, but we got a new judge in Georgia. Might have got a new judge. It's a new judge in Fulton County.
You can say you don't
Might have
recall.
got a new judge.
That's
It's a new
fine.
judge
I
in
want you to
Atlanta.
tell the truth. I don't expect.
A new judge who works up under the
I
old
did these
judge.
crimes. I'm telling you that.
A new judge who is subordinate
I did these crimes.
to The old judge. Who was the old judge? The chief judge.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a comfort break, about 15 minutes, and we'll come back and see where the rest of the day leads us, okay?
All right. Appreciate y'all, family. I'm just switching screens so we could get a little bit of that ex parte before we get up out of here, because I skipped a lot of that Hilton. I just couldn't take her. She didn't say Stacy Sibbett enough. She must be watching the videos, because she was watching them Stacy Sibbets. She didn't want to say it today. But it's all good, family. Appreciate y'all being here. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, tap in, share with a friend. Here we go right here. Let's see. Open this up. Open up this other one. Boom. Oh, okay. I see what I did. Okay, here we go. Boom. Okay.
I did these crimes. I'm telling you that.
Hey, it's your boy, the Leo Tony.
I did these crimes.
Right?
Shout out to that cartoon.
Oh, no, the video. Guys, somebody made a video and used AV's voice. It was hilarious reading the transcript with AI. I was like, it's your boy. AI is racist. It's your boy. Got real urban on me. All right, and so whoever did that video with AV, I don't know if somebody could drop the link. It was hilarious.
Hey, Flesh of the Gods. So shout out to Flesh of the Gods too, who has been really I don't know, not daily coverage, but almost daily coverage, content about this case, looking back at different parts of testimony and in-court moments that relate to the things that we're arguing about today. Flesh of the Gods has a great archive of content on the YSL trial, so make sure you check out that channel as well.
But she said I can purge myself, though. No. We're saying two different things. Sorry. Perjury is if you get on the stand and you just say a bold-faced lie, just something that is just wrong. Say you say, I did something, and all the other times you said, I have not done it. And really, while it's perjury, it's really just an inconsistent statement. Oh, my God. Like if you get on the stand and say, I did X, but in 2015 you said, I never did X, then that is what I'm going to impeach. I'm going to impeach you on everything you said in 2015. Meaning I'm going to say, okay, today you said I did X, but in 2015...
We have a security issue. We need to stop for a minute. If we can stop for a minute, please.
I don't know what was told to you on Friday. I have no reason to want you in prison. You have spent enough time in prison for YSL, period. So why would I want that for you? It doesn't make no sense. I said it to you before, and I will say it to you again in front of all these people. It makes no sense. You just said I'm going to have to stay in jail until the last if you don't testify. Get this part through your head if you don't testify. That is the only thing that is holding you. That is literally the only thing holding you right now is the fact that you keep saying, I'm not going to testify. Well, you haven't said it today. I'm not testifying. I plead the fifth. If you get up there and I want you to tell the truth, like I said before, if you don't recall certain things, you can say you don't recall. That's fine. I want you to tell the truth. I don't expect you to remember every single detail from 2015. I just don't. No one here does. But what I do expect for you is to answer questions so we can get through this. So you can go home, be with your baby for her birthday, see those dogs deliver their babies, go talk to your nephews, and do all these other things. How do you know about my dogs? Because you told me. Okay, what's wrong? I'm stressing at another level, I'm just saying, I'm weak. Man, I'm not playing. I'm dead serious, man. This is what our position is. We do not want him in custody. We want him to tell the truth. We want him to testify. That's what will get him out of jail. And you have to make, if he decides in 2 weeks he wants to testify, then what? And if he wants to stay in jail for 2 weeks, then I don't know why you would want to stay in jail for 2 weeks. I have no idea. He just feels like he's under a lot of pressure right now. Even at the jail, they are you can't give me a house arrest. No, you can go home by taking the stand and testifying. That's what
And come back tomorrow morning.
We keep on saying yet, but there's no crime. We keep on saying yet, I don't know who's really telling you about a crime. There is no crime. You have done nothing wrong except for, so why am I in jail then? Because you aren't testifying. But that ain't nothing wrong. It's not a crime. It's not a crime that you're in civil contempt.
Two things. Because you invoked your privilege after you've been given immunity, that is why you're in custody, because you get out by testifying. So you testify, you get out. And that's why I brought you.
Yo, Joanna, I got that link pulled up. If y'all want to tap into a little bit of it tonight, I usually don't go live on Fridays. But yeah, y'all let me know if y'all want to tap into some of that tonight. What up, Jennifer Devine? I see you, family. Appreciate you joining.
You here early today to just inquire about that. You can remain and hold your position of invoking the fifth or not testifying, but you go back to prison. You go back to jail because that.
You can't sentence me? There's no sentence.
There is no sentence. The contempt is compliance. They want your testimony. That is all they want, whatever that may be.
I don't know what it is, Your Honor. You're in jail for failing to testify.
I got you, Steph JK. I told you we make the custom clothes right here in-house. Fuck with us.
Testify.
Not for nothing else. There is no crime. You ain't done nothing wrong. I don't know if people are telling you what we are going to charge you with. Nothing. We are not charging you. The state charges you. There is nothing we are charging you with. You're only in custody because you have decided not to testify. That's it. Once you decide to testify.
You remember that word you were talking about? Purge? Okay, you can purge right now. Purge. And get yourself out of jail just by testifying.
I can purge and get out of jail?
Yes, just by testifying.
Not perjury.
Purge, meaning you can get out of jail. You can get out of jail, out of custody, just by testifying.
And what about the other one? The other word, perjury?
That's different.
That's different.
That's a different word, okay?
That can get me back in jail? Yes.
Well, perjury is,
It's not what you are saying it's not what you were saying is not perjury. What you are saying is what we call a prior inconsistent statement. Your example that you gave me, what if I said I did something and I know you didn't do it and you said before you didn't do it? That's not perjury.
All right, Steph JK. Much love. Have a great night.
That's a prior inconsistent statement. You've got to make a decision. So if he starts testifying today, he's going to go home today? He should, so long as he remains. But if you get up there and be like, if you get up there testifying and then we get into it and you start saying, I plead the fifth, we're going to be back here again. But if he says he don't recall to everything, he'll be okay. I'm not advising that. But it's on.
Chan my black golden say with perks. What kind of perks? Like the one that Percocet?
So long as he answers the questions, that's fine. So long as I did these crimes, I'm telling you that. Okay. I don't know what you were talking about, but I think you are saying you want to get up there on the stand and say something. Did we find out if he could talk to his family? No? I mean, if it's okay, we got the sister's phone number. As my attorney, you gotta if y'all want to talk, let me go somewhere. I can't hear you. The judge is over there, so just speak low so he doesn't hear you.
Hold on. Okay, all right. Mr. Copeland, have you had an opportunity to talk with Ms. Bumpus, your lawyer, and Ms. Hilton, the state's counsel? Have you got any other questions?
No, Your Honor.
Is it your desire to give testimony today?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, then. Do you all have some clothes for him?
I don't know. Let me go take a look. What size are you? I can't hear you. And what size are you? Little. You had a jacket for him? Oh, but he can't wear a large?
What is your waist size? 34?
32.
Chest. What are you, 34? 34, 36 chest?
Probably 36. Not in my chest. What you mean?
Size. They are going to try to get you some clothes so you don't have to testify wearing that jail uniform, okay?
Y'all don't want to show the people how y'all did me?
Look,
If we can't find clothes, then you may have until tomorrow. I prefer to go in like this. Nah, don't hide it. Can you make him put on clothes? No. I want to go in there like this. Fine, with me.
All right, okay.
Y'all aren't going to try and lock me back up for this? So long as you testify, we will get an order to get you released today.
Whose copy is this?
You've got to make sure you come back now. I want to be real clear. When have I ever ran? You have not. That's the only thing. You have not.
Whose copy is this?
That was ours. Do you want a copy? You can take it, though. It's okay. You still have yours, or you threw it away? I'm going to give him both of these things so he can have some information. Okay.
Are we done?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, we're good. See everybody downstairs in about 10 minutes.
He's a rat. But goddamn it, he's an entertaining rat. He got Master Splinter beat, and what he's doing is throwing the DA off their mojo.
Well, yeah, I guess there was a secret meeting that happened.
That's gonna be a misfire.
Between Woody and the judge and the prosecutors.
If that happened, everything that judge has touched is going to be scrutinized now, right? They'll go mistrial before they let that thing go all the way. Convict Thug and give him that door of appeal.
Yeah.
But when they mistrial, it's a good and bad thing because it's good because, okay, Thug didn't find you guilty, but it's bad because now We're going to be dealing with this till 2026. And Thug's attorney, now, listen, say what you want. Dude he was gangster with that situation.
Oh, yeah, he said that he wants to do his jail time with Thug in a cell
Straight
to
up,
go over the
that's
case. Oh, yeah, he has a long
He
list
said,
of
he
people.
said I'll do the time as long as you put me in there with my client. Everybody gonna hire him.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, no, he's got $1 million offers, I'm sure, already.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm so high right now, y'all. I'm about to go sleep on y'all ass.
Also, young people who are subjected to conditions and treatment that violate the Constitution and defy federal law. Many people held in jails in our country have not been convicted. They are awaiting hearings, trial dates, or are serving short sentences for misdemeanors. We find that the Fulton County Jail does not adequately protect incarcerated people from violence, such as stabbing, sexual abuse, or even murder. Physical deficiencies in the environment, such as unlocked doors and large holes in the walls, permit and even facilitate the brutality. Incarcerated people use makeshift weapons built out of jail fixtures to attack others, including vulnerable people with mental health needs and 17-year-old young people. In 2023 alone, we identified 314 stabbings and more than 1,000 assaults. This rate of violence exceeds what we've seen in other cities across the country. The Fulton County Jail had as many stabbings in a single month as the Miami-Dade County Jail had all year. And that's a facility with 1.5 times more people. Since 2022, 6 people in the jail have lost their lives to violence. I'll walk through additional core findings set forth in the report that we're issuing today. Living conditions at the jail are hazardous and unsanitary. Housing units are flooded from broken toilets. Roaches, rodents, and pests abound. Standing water, exposed wiring, and vermin make living areas unsafe. The jail does not provide enough food, leaving people severely malnourished. The jail fails to provide constitutionally adequate medical and mental health care to people at the jail, exposing people to preventable bad outcomes, including injury, seriousness, illness, pain and suffering, mental health decline, and even death. The lack of security staff and failure to prioritize health services impede access to care. Medical emergencies do not receive appropriate medical responses. People at risk of suicide do not receive sufficient protection, and people with serious mental health needs do not receive adequate treatment. The jail uses solitary confinement, also known as restrictive housing, in discriminatory and unconstitutional ways that expose people, particularly 17-year-olds and people with mental health disabilities, to risk of harm, including
Oh, it's on now. They out there now. It's on now. Shout out to Joanna for this one. Appreciate you, family. And shout out to Berta S. Y'all dropped some slime brothers gifting the membership. Appreciate you, family. She gifted Elizabeth Wright. Hey, turn up. Appreciate you, family. We almost about to here.
acute mental illness and self-injury. The jail uses lengthy confinement in restrictive housing as punishment without written explanation, which violates due process. As Georgia is one of only 4 states where the juvenile justice system's jurisdiction ends at 16, there are 17-year-old boys and girls also held at the jail. And these 17-year-old boys and girls are exposed to particular harm. The jail does not provide special educational services to 17-year-olds who are entitled to them under a federal law known as the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. It fails to protect these children from violence, including sexual abuse, and it uses isolation to punish them, which both violates their rights and contradicts clear research that such isolation uniquely harms our young people. The jail staff also uses excessive force. This includes deploying tasers without reasonable cause. For example, detention officers tased a man after he said he felt like hurting himself and needed to see a mental health specialist. Such violations stem from understaffing, poor policies, and lack of training and supervisory failures. The summary that I have just shared is harrowing enough, but individual experiences are gut-wrenching. For example, LaShawn Thompson, a black man with serious mental illness, entered the jail on low-level charges and was confined to the mental health housing unit. 3 months later, staff found him dead in his cell, infested with lice, and as a medical examiner concluded, neglected to death. Several months before that, another black man with serious mental illness died after
Six Sigma, what up? I see you, family. Appreciate you joining.
he stopped.
Bad family. I thought I don't know what happened. I got shut down. I had to reset it. But we up out of here. I'm going to just play this outro real quick. I appreciate those who stuck around. I even cut it off, but it was still on. They shut me down.
No. Why didn't you, as an officer of this court, tell me? And that's not what the point is. The point is, you as an advocate, is you should have told me. I got a problem with you now. I got a problem with you now. I would suggest you don't say anymore. Now you want to have it both ways. Both sides have an equal responsibility under the rules of professional responsibility. All right, have a seat, sir. Thank you.
How fast things have changed. How fast things have changed. How fast things have changed.
Now I see you running, coming for my come up. Broke out all your shackles, turned it to some armor. Used to be the judge, but now you have no honor. To die with your pride is to live with all your karma. Now you understand. Now you understand.
Another night of fun. There's a lot of fun talking about it. All right. Anybody else have any other issues as to...
Uh-oh. Fulton County has no problem coming in here and cuffing all of us, okay? Don't be an idiot.
Are you trying to tell me about myself? You homeless, and you don't even have a mirror to look at yourself.
Here. So I know you all about your principles. But can we please listen to Earn so we can get out of here? It's 4 cops on the other side of that door. You know if they come in here, they're gonna get your ass on a whole lot of other shit.
You lying ass bitch.
I knew it. Mama, I hate you, Will.
Don't you never come back to my house,
And I hope they blow your motherfucking ass to smithereens.
You better hope they do, bitch. You better hope they do.
This nigga kidnapped me.
I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth! What are you, fucking nuts?
You thought... Oh.
That must have been somebody doing that magic. Like, yo, you said you was going to be done at 10. It's 10 o'clock. Show's over, buddy. Grab the socks. No, I'm just playing. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to Chot Diggy. Appreciate you, family. Shanna P. Law Nerd. Appreciate you. Joanna. Appreciate you. Cynthia Torp. Loa. Appreciate y'all hanging out. Jennifer Devine. Berta S. Steph JK, of course. Chloe Albert's Revenge. Appreciate you. Cat Knot Williams. Let me see if I can drop the cat real quick. My whole thing is all different now, but oh, here we go. I can find it. Boom.
Hi guys. How is everybody?
Chad My Black is golden. Joanna, Miss Mama, No One. What up, what up? Appreciate y'all, family. Appreciate y'all sticking around. We up out of here. Much love. Thank you, Miss Mama. Appreciate y'all hanging out. Mookie. What up, what up, what up? Chloe Albert's Revenge. Anybody else want me to say their name before I roll out? Type something in the chat. Cynthia Torp, I see you.
No. Why didn't you, as an officer of this court, tell me? And that's not what the point is. The point is, you as an advocate is you should have told me. I got a problem with you now. I got a problem with you now. I would suggest you don't say any more. Now you want to have it both ways. You can't do it. Both sides have an equal responsibility under the rules of professional responsibility. All right, have a seat, sir. Thank you.
How fast things have changed. How fast things have changed. How fast things have changed.
Now I see you running, coming for my car.
Shanna P. Lady L, have a great night. Appreciate you, family. Jennifer Devine, have a great night.
Broke out all your shackles.
No, I didn't get the super chat, Jennifer Devine. I don't see it. If you did it while the stream dropped, that might have been why. Let me check up.
Turned it to some mama. Used to be the judge, but now you have no honor. To die with your pride is to live with all your karma.
Okay, wait, I did. Shout out to Jennifer Devine. I can't pull it up on screen because I got to reconnect everything because it cut off on me. But shout out to Jennifer Devine with the $10 super chat. Thank you for shedding the light on this. Appreciate you, family. Appreciate you. It must be talking about the last video we was just playing before they cut me off. But appreciate you. Y'all show some love and drop some slime brothers for Jennifer Devine on our way out.
Now you understand.
Another night of fun. There's a lot of fun talking about. All right. Anybody else have any other issues as to?
Uh-oh. Fulton County has no problem coming in here and cuffing all of us, okay? Don't be an idiot.
Are you trying to tell me about myself? You homeless, and you don't even have a mirror to look at yourself.
Here. So I know you all about your principles. But can we just please just listen to Earn so we can get out of here? It's 4 cops on the other side of that door. You know if they come in here, they're gonna get your ass on a whole lot of other shit.
You lying ass bitch.
I knew it. Mama, I hate you, Will.
Don't you never come back to my house,
And
no.
I hope they blow your motherfucking ass to smithereens.
You better hope they do, bitch. You better hope they do.
This nigga kidnapped me.
I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth! What are you, fucking nuts?
You thought...
All right, that's it. We out. Shout out to Mookie, Loa, Shanna P, hanging all the way out to the end. And one more shout out to Jennifer Devine for the $10 super chat. Sorry I got disconnected when you dropped it, but we definitely appreciate it. Much love, much love. Y'all have a great night, family. Peace out. Joanna said, fold up the tables and chairs.